The Session is brought to you by morebeer.com, where every day you can enter to win the beer trip of a lifetime for two to Belgium. Private tours, round-trip airfare, and $500 to spend. Enter now at morebeer.com.
Great beer is about drinkability. Doesn't matter the style.
You guys are like walking beer Wikipedia.
That's the first time that you've ever accepted me as a person.
Or you have a fermentation in your gut.
I'm jet propelled at all times.
How many guys do you think that you have the privilege to slap?
Somebody who's never tasted a commercial example, and this is how you know everything about this beer? Please, you don't.
I think that's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit too.
Wow. Are you guys going to arm wrestle?
No.
We're going to teabag fight.
Yeah. You heard of Junkyard Wars?
Can I get another high five, Beavis?
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
All right. It's showtime. Once again. Lot to do today. As always. I guarantee we'll get done within 6 hours. All the things we have to do.
That's crazy.
2. I'll be done in 2 hours.
2 hours, Tasty says.
Well, that's it.
Starting 9 years ago.
I'll give you 3 tonight. That's it.
All right.
That's pretty good. That's not bad.
We got Left Hand Brewing Company on the program with us tonight. Excited about that.
Yeah.
Still, I think to this day, they make the best milk stout I've ever had. So...
Well, I made one last Sunday, so we'll see about that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I've never made one before.
Nice.
So
it's got to be great.
Right.
It's a weird style to choose to make, right? That's why no one's ever made one before. Nobody sits around going, you know what? I want to make a milk stout.
Actually, people do. His name's Warren.
Yeah. I hadn't brewed since July, so I was like, hey, you know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Something I've never done before.
Yeah,
right. For a milk stout.
Yeah.
It is a very odd style because it's not as roasty and kind of acidic malty as a stout. You would think like an American stout.
Yeah, it's different.
It's very, very weird.
But I had it for the first time. I had Left Hands. Probably the first time I went to the Oregon Brewers Festival. So in the first year that we were broadcasting, and it just was great. Such a great beer.
Do you have it on the Nitro?
No, not then. At the OBF, it was just a standard old CO2. But people were talking about it. I mean, I wasn't the only one that liked it. People around OBF at that time were like, you got to go try that.
It was the buzz.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. So we got Left Hand on the show today. Not in the studio, but we do have some of their beer in the studio, I think, don't we?
Yeah, quite a bit of it. You know, I didn't drink one of them leading up to the show. Not a one.
Attaboy.
Brought them all in.
Wait a minute, you usually do?
Well, yeah, I mean, they'll ship me
now we know what
a few of the same style, and I'll drink a couple.
I didn't know about this.
Bring a couple in,
Well, this is fucked up.
It's fucked up. All right, so we got Left Hand on the show today. We're excited about that. Eric Wallace, he's the president. And Ro Gunzel?
Yep.
Yeah, he's the head brewer over there, Left Hand. So we'll talk to the boys about their beer. We'll taste some of their beer, and we'll get through it that way. All right, I do have a lot of announcements today, so let me just dive right into that. The first thing is we're upgrading our servers, I think, beginning tonight. So Code, our boy Code, who helps us out all the time with these things. In fact, we'd have been out of business a long time ago without that dude. He's starting the server upgrade tonight after the show. So it could go smoothly. You know, they tell us it will. But you never know these things. So periodically over the next few days, because I know it takes a little bit of time for everything to update entirely, if there are site outages, that's what's happening. And tell your friends. You know, I don't want to hear it. I want to answer 100 emails. So you guys do it for me. You answer the emails for me. Just tell all your friends now. All right. The other thing, we got some exciting stuff going on. You know, we're doing this Australia trip in October. We're going to the Australian National Homebrewers Conference, and we're coming up with ways for us all to get in on that. In other words, a couple of us are budgeted to get to the conference, but we want to bring the whole team.
We want our friends there.
Yeah.
Yes.
We want to party with the Brewcasters.
Exactly.
So we're working on that. We've got a few different ways to get us there. And one of them was donated by a listener this week. I think it's a pretty cool thing now that we have. We're going to do an auction for 2 tickets to see Dave Matthews in Sydney on April 15th. And not just 2 tickets to see the Dave Matthews Band, but those same 2 people get to go backstage for a backstage tour before the show.
Wow.
Yeah. So not just your standard old, head on over to StubHub and get yourself some Dave Matthews tickets.
Yeah. And then sit on the lawn like schlubs.
Yeah.
No. Do they have grass in Australia?
I think so.
Maybe it's the bush. I think they call it bush out there.
And if you sit out in the bush, and if it's like any other Dave Matthews Band, you sit out in the bush and you trip balls for 4.5 hours, depending on the length of the set that night.
Right.
Not that I've ever done that. I've heard about it. What did I do? There you are. I tried to turn Susie off. She got noisy.
Does it come with a custom recording of you making fun of them for liking Dave Matthews?
I like Dave Matthews, actually. That would come with a custom recording of JP making fun of you for liking Dave Matthews.
Yeah, I told Taryn about this because she's a super fan.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, and now I really want to go to Australia, but like now.
Should we take Taryn and not you?
Please do.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
you'd
great.
love it. Yeah.
Well, her uncle lives out there, so she just crash on his yacht.
Really?
There you go. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start an auction because the whole point, so we've got this great friend, this great listener, friend of the show, and he works for the Dave Matthews Band. We've got friends everywhere, believe it or not.
I was even right behind you.
So he's is donating the 2 tickets plus the backstage tour. And what we're going to do, the point is to raise money to get more of us to Australia in October. So we're going to do an auction on the Brewing Network forum. There is a thread there. You will be responsible for the dollars that you put up. All right, so don't go in there and mess around. This is obviously probably just for our Australian contingent, our Australian listeners.
Yeah, unless you're going to be in Australia
on April 15th, or if you feel like flying over for a backstage tour, God bless you.
Yeah, let's not leave out the Kiwis or the Papua New Guineans or whomever.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. Are the bids going to be in U.S. dollars or Australian dollars?
Warren, stop complicating things. That's a good point.
We'll have to convert it. Well, great, leave it to us. We'll have to. It'll still be the highest bid.
Yeah, in gold.
Convert
in American dollars.
$1 million yen.
This is American dollars, the real stuff.
Yeah.
What about Bitcoin? Let's just do it in Bitcoin.
Do it in Bitcoin. Yeah, highly volatile. So
I think you mean stable.
I don't think so, actually. So that's what we're going to do. What is the thread called in the forum? Can people get started right away?
I haven't posted it yet. I'm working on it right now. It's called Silent Auction for Dave Matthews Band Tickets.
Sounds easy enough.
Pretty good, right? It's going to be in the Beer Radio Sunday session section.
Okay.
I felt that was apropos.
So we're doing it this way because just put it in the regular Beer Radio. Because I hate too many subcategories and I get confused.
I was trying to be organized, but that's fine. I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
I don't even know that I like that we have show subcategories anymore. It seems weird to me.
Forum users just should go to active topics and it'll be on.
It'll pop right
on
up.
the first page.
Or you could search silent auction. It's probably the only one we've ever done.
For it, sure.
And it'll,
yeah.
We're doing it on our forum because we want it. We want these to go to a listener, and we want to encourage listenership. We don't want some random Dave Matthews fan like Taryn, to get a whole. Although we might make more money that way, but we
no, you wouldn't trust me.
we want it to go to a listener, so we're doing it in the forum. So go to the Brewing Network, and then click on the button that says Forum. And then under the active topics, or just go under Beer Radio, you're going to find a thread that says Silent Auction for Dave Matthews Band Tickets. It's 2 tickets, April 15th. They're playing in Sydney. You're going to get a backstage tour of the whole deal, not like the kind of tour Schumann gives.
Although maybe, if you play your cards right.
Your day will not be molested.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. Tasty's not going.
Unless she wants to be molested, and then...
No, I've been on this tour.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have. Oh, yes.
How was it?
It was great.
Did you walk
tour.
Did you walk with a limp afterwards?
No.
Okay.
I had me and a friend there, and we loved the tour, and it was great.
Excellent. So we're excited about this, and it's the start of our Get the Brewcasters to Oz tour, where we're just fundraising and doing our best to get as many of us over there as we can. There's a lot of other different methods coming up. For example, on April 19th, we'll be having the BN yard sale, bake sale, and silent auction.
And free beer.
Event here at the... We've gotten a lot better at our marketing, I think,
I think we have.
than we used to be.
Yeah.
And so we're doing that right here at the Brewing Network Studios. It's also probably the last time that you'll get to see Studio Double D.
Before we blow it up.
Before we blow it up and head out of Martinez, move it over to the new BN World headquarters in Concord at the Hop Grenade Tap Room and Bottle Shop.
There's a lot of ands in our life. You ever notice that?
I like it. I feel like we've never been a very efficient company anyway, and now we're just showing it in our titles.
And you know the one thing the back end of our website can't handle, HTML wise, the ampersands.
Ampersands.
Can't do it.
It's true.
Cannot do it.
If we put ampersands in our shows, it breaks every time.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're fighting back. We're taking back the and. We're taking back spelling out and. All right, so a lot of different ways for you to contribute, but if you're going to be in the Sydney area or you can make your way there, April 15th, we've got Dave Matthews tickets for you. This week, you'll find more information on our Facebook page about the BN Yard Sale, Bake Sale, Silent Auction, and Free Beer event. We'll be auctioning off their items like our official BN Army kegerator that's lived in the studio here for the last year and lived at Docks before that. It's a 6-tap badass camo kegerator. It works great.
Yeah, that's good.
The only reason we're getting rid of it is we're going to have 20 taps at the new bar. So why keep our 6-tapper?
No room for a kegerator.
To have 26.
And all of us already have kegerators, and we need money to go to Australia, so we're not giving it away or auctioning off because it's a piece of shit. It's awesome. One of them's set up for nitro.
It works, that's for sure.
It's got a shelf built in so that you can put the 6 kegs on top, but still fit bottles in the bottom. You can keep your weed up in the freezer. The freezer works. Not that we've ever done that here.
No.
Not that we've ever kept tasty cookies in the freezer at all times here at the BN Studio.
Those things are shelf stable.
Yeah. It's a great little... And we've got a few other things we're going to auction off. You know what we're going to do, Tasty? This is the first Tasty's heard of it, but I know Tasty. He's on board.
Yeah.
We're going to auction off a box of beer. And what we're going to do is I'm going to include some of the rare bottles. Like, for example, I got a bottle of Dark Lord sitting in my cellar that was donated to us. We have... A few of them were donated to us, and this one's kind of been hanging around. We're going to put some things like that, plus some Brewcaster beer, into a big case of beer.
Oh, wow.
So that you'll get some tasty beer, you'll get some Doc beer. I don't know if JP's got any good beer around in the cellar.
Maybe.
Maybe Beardy's got a award-winning cider to throw in there. And plus, we'll throw in...
we'll see.
Maybe my Schwartz beer. Fuck Nate and the Schwartz.
Maybe.
Once I beat Nate, we'll put that in there.
Right.
So we're coming up with a whole list of silent auction items. Plus, we're literally yard sailing what we have here in the studio. Like we have some nice couches that are very
a lot of broken chairs.
A lot of broken chairs.
We're very IKEA chic here. When I was digging around this weekend for stuff to put on the list, I found the urinal tap.
Oh,
remember that
have
thing?
the old urinal tap,
right?
We might as well put that up.
Well, that'd look great over in the Hop Grenade.
You think so?
Some guy is sure to take a piss in it.
Exactly, that's the problem.
Why is this pisser way high up on the counter?
Why are my feet getting wet?
Yeah, it's like 10 feet up the wall.
Yeah.
Someone will still manage to piss in it.
It's a long shot, but it can be made.
What do I win?
I'll have to think about that one.
Free pint!
Beardy's helping us out today. Beardy, can we auction off your beard?
Yeah, why don't you cut it for charity?
The whole thing. It's for our charity.
I'll cut it if it gets me to Australia.
If it gets you
there.
All right.
Oh, I see.
Well, that ups our budget by about $3,000, so I don't know. How much do you think that thing's going to bring in?
I don't know. $3.
Make some great earmuffs.
I bet if I talk to your wife, I can get that thing up for auction.
Oh, she would do it for free.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm asking the wrong person.
Just tell her to get it in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Gone.
Tell her I'll give her 15%. Just get it in the middle of the night.
There you go.
All right. So that auction is coming up April 19th, but the Dave Matthews auction will start as soon as JP gets that thread in the forum.
It's already there.
So
it's
there you
done.
go. All right, Australians, go in there. Help us get to Oz. We're going to have a good time with you out there. Okay, a few other things I just need to let you know about. The American Homebrewers Association Governing Committee elections are still going on. You have until March 31st. If you didn't know, you can vote for up to 8 candidates over there. And there's something like 25 candidates. So if you're having a hard time, deciding between, say, Drew Beecham and Kim Wood, go ahead and vote for both. You can vote 8 times. And if you're a member of the AHA, you need to do that. These are the people that represent you. So please go do it. I'd be very appreciative if you did. Vote. Go to homebrewersassociation.org, and then you can click on, I believe it's membership, and you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to read all about it. You have until 11:59 Pacific time, March 31st. All right? Go do it. Speaking of the AHA, there's a AHA rally at Heretic.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming up Saturday, April 26th, and the Brewing Network is going to be there. We're going to do some live shows. It's Saturday, April 26th at Heretic Brewing Company in, what's that city called? Fairfield. I always forget if it's
So do I.
Fairfield.
On your way out there, stop by the Jelly Belly factory and pick up some belly flops.
There's a good
right
brewery
there.
out there, Anheuser-Busch.
Right near it.
Yeah, right across from Jelly Belly.
They're using the same water.
That's true. Hell of a tour, I hear. All right, so April 26th, AHA rally at Heretic. Come on out and join us. It's free for members. We're going to be giving away a bunch of stuff. Representatives of the AHA will be there, and we'll be there doing some live shows. So come see us out at Heretic April 26th.
Speaking of giving away, they're giving away 5 gallons of wort.
Oh, that day, huh?
That day.
What's the deal there?
You just bring your carboy, preferably sanitized, so they'll probably do it for you.
Yeah.
Water probably do it for you.
And they'll give you the carboy of wort and yeast to ferment it.
I want to do that.
Well, then bring your carboy.
I think I will.
I think you have to sign up for it. Like, I think there's something.
I'm sure there's slots, right?
Yeah. There's a limited number. You make sure he's got enough wort and time to do it. But it's a limited number. But
what beer is it?
I don't know what.
Probably don't know yet.
It's probably one of his production beers. Twin.
Oh, it's wort. It's not boiled or hopped yet. Yeah.
It's wort.
Okay.
It's hot.
It's boiled.
It's boiled and cooled and ready to go.
Yeah. It's going to be some ambery thing.
It's a one-off.
So I just have to pitch yeast.
Right.
Yeah,
so there'll be multiple kinds of yeast. So you can pick like English or a lager or just an ale yeast. So you have a couple different options.
What do you mean? I get the yeast too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So it's like 5 gallons of free beer.
You get the wort and the yeast, and the dry hopping's up to you. But
wow.
Look at that.
You can get some wort.
That's a hell of a deal.
It's great. If you're not an AHA member,
it's great.
You can buy 5 gallons of beer for the price of membership.
I have to be up real early brewing it.
$38.
But
right. Yeah, you do that day, right?
Yeah. Probably.
First drinkable beer you'll make. Jay.
That's what I'm saying. Like I get I'm kind of
foolproof.
Can I just leave the carboy at Heretic also?
You can
we'll take care of it.
And have you guys monitor it for me?
I'd rather just pay the however much it is. Like if I wasn't a member, pay the membership fee, and then go. No, I just want to finish keg when you're done.
Yeah,
you do it all.
Yeah, why not? Can I have some say in the recipe, Beardy, or you think it has to be one of your?
Well, you can talk to Jamel.
Yeah.
It's not going to be
he always listens
Twin
to me.
Or it's not going to be one of the regular beers.
Oh, it won't. It'll be a different beer.
It's going to be its own wort.
I like it.
It'll be conjoined twin.
Okay.
Evil or
oh, if he hasn't done that, if that's not planned yet, it really should be.
God, what would that be? What would a beer called conjoined twin be?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
To think about that. All right, so it sounds like a lot of great things happening out at Heretic, the AHA Rally, April 26th. All right, you can also support us by shopping on Amazon. Just hit the Amazon link on our homepage and do your shopping as normal. We get a little piece of it. You won't even know we're there. Do we have a product of the week?
Yeah, it's Boy Meets World, the complete series. It's
nice.
7 DVDs worth of Boy Meets World. I just love the description. Well, first of all, do you think they order it for their kids or themselves?
God damn it, I hope it's for their kids.
Oh,
Who
no, it's for
watches
themselves.
No.
For sure.
Is that the one with the Science Kids? What's the Science Kids one?
I think it's called Science Kids.
Is that the... It's, a bunch of, it's also awful, and it's been on for years.
No, Boy Meets World was that weird soap from the early or the late 90s, early 2000s, right?
Yeah,
remember Corey and Topanga,
Corey and
Mr.
Sepulveda,
Feeney?
yeah, exactly.
Well, a tween soap.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd call it a soap.
Catch up with your favorite gang, Corey, Sean, and Topanga, as they survive the trials of junior high, high school, and college in the complete series Boy Meets World. Corey is your average guy with a best friend from the other side of the tracks, a teacher that constantly keeps him on his toes, and a friend named Topanga who he has trouble understanding.
Who never gets naked, by the way.
Yeah.
So don't even watch.
If you were waiting for that.
Don't wait for that. Don't even try to start it.
So Tasty bought these. That's what he's saying. I watched them all, and I tell you what, she never gets naked.
If you wait till the college years, they run around in towels.
Not a cleavage, nothing.
I'm Googling Danielle Fishel nude. Let's see what comes up.
He's like the opposite of Mr. Skin.
Well, maybe
Mr.
she will,
Clothes.
because they're going to do I heard rumors that they're going to do a sequel or a follow-up series.
Those are all fake, by the way, Scott.
That's going to have...
Yeah.
Some decent fakes.
You believe it's her?
Anyway, thanks for ordering that.
All right, watch all this live on brewingnetwork.com/TV. That's our live stream page. You can go there and check it out.
Yeah.
Subscribe and join the BN Army. You're entered to win the $100 donation giveaway from our sponsor, More Beer. They bring you this show and every show. Go to morebeer.com. Always bringing you the Sunday session. And if you're a recurring donor in the BN Army, you get a chance to win a $100 gift certificate every single week. Plus, we got some good giveaways for you later this year. I was speaking with the More Beer guys last week, and we got some big plans for you. So subscribe and join the BN Army. Get all these updates and more over on Twitter and Facebook, and send show ideas to Scott the Jew, Scott@thebrewingnetwork.com. Send feedback to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. Two things. Are we ready with our March Madness names?
Yes.
You have them? Are we ready with our Twitter game?
Yes.
Twitter game is brought to you today by our good friends over at homebrewstuff.com, where it is March Homebrew Madness. That's right. The bracket works just as well over at homebrewstuff.com. They're giving away prizes each and every week leading up to the finals. And I believe we have our Sweet 16 to announce. Our Sweet 16 winners right now, right?
Actually, we've done that, and Elite 8. Tonight is the Final Four as we near the end of March.
No kidding.
Yep.
The Final Four already. By the way, UConn made it past the Sweet 16 themselves. Go ahead. Or into the Sweet 16. Sorry.
Punch up line 1. That's our friend Tarn, who is live in Homebrew Shop as Homebrew Stuff, rather, as we speak, and he has our names for us.
Tarn, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing all right. Excited to give away some Homebrew Stuff prizes to some lucky fans here.
So am I.
All right.
Awesome.
Who do we have this week?
All right. I got 4 winners here. Fred Stevens, George Gutierrez, Alex, I hope I'm saying this right, Kuhneman, and Jonathan Coleman.
All right. Congratulations. What do they win this week, Tarn?
You know what? I am not at the office. I couldn't honestly tell you.
Hang on. I might have it.
Yeah,
let's see. 16 winners. So last week's winners got ball lock couplers. The Elite 8 got brew hauler carboy carriers. The Final Four this week they're getting 2-ounce packages of El Dorado hops and a
those are good stuff.
And a $25 gift certificate on top of that.
Not bad.
El Dorado hops are
Awesome.
good. That is good stuff. So, all right, brother. Thanks so much.
Anytime. Have a great day, guys.
Cheers. Congratulations.
Congratulations, winners.
There you go. Congratulations to our winners of the Homebrew Stuff March Homebrew Madness Final Four. Next week, one winner is going to win $50 to homebrewstuff.com.
How many guys do you think jumped out of their chair when he announced Fred Stevens?
Yeah!
You know, I bet you we have at least 2 or 3 Fred Stevens out there listening.
What are we doing? Emailing them so the official Fred Stevens will actually get noticed via email, I assume?
I suppose, or maybe
There might
they
be
all
8
will.
winners next week.
I hope nobody had a heart attack same time.
Poor old Fred.
Although that's good PR. Poor old Fred. Oh, Fred, he was a good dude. God damn it. All right, what's our Twitter game today?
Well, I was reading a story in the news last year about the first exoskeleton for personal use being given to an Iraqi war vet. I think this was mid or late last year. And so I was thinking about it. If the BN invented some sort of bionic device like this, what would it do?
That's a good question.
You know?
Sometimes we get to learn a lot of things in the Twitter game.
About our listeners?
Yeah.
What would you do with this guy has an exoskeleton so he can actually walk again. I think he was paralyzed or something like that. What would you use a bionic device for?
If I had a bionic device, it would create yeast starters on demand. It would all within the device.
Oh, wow.
And what would come out of it would be an Erlenmeyer flask to put on my stir plate. So it would just, all of it would happen within, say, this arm exoskeleton.
Right.
And then I would just be able to detach the flask and put it on my starter. So I could be working all day and it was just doing it so that when I got home
in your arm
starter.
So you were actually secreting yeast into your arm, which would be a collection vessel for it. Sounds like.
Well, essentially, yes.
Okay. All right. Maybe it would harvest yeast from the air around you and collect it into the vessel Oh, see,
Yeah.
there you go. Let's
You're
market
better at this than I am. But I think
I daydream a lot.
Yeah, this is where I'm going. I feel like if I could just show up with a yeast starter,
right,
that would be my bionic device.
Warren would just want to see better.
Eyes would be great.
Instead of these hollowed out masses.
Beardy's like, I would invent eyes.
Yeah, so I could see. Wouldn't that be great?
You have fun with your yeast starter.
All right, send your ideas.
I got that figured out.
You're living too high on the hog over there.
I think I'd go really big.
Yeah?
I'd have
like height, like taller?
an exoskeleton that would drive my car.
Mm.
Yes.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it'd be great. He'd be a great driver, too. I'd just sit there and kind of like,
yeah,
what's going on here?
Yeah,
I'd
one
be there
day,
just in case.
I think that's a really good idea.
I'd honk at the girls or something. I'd be on the lookout.
Well, you would get, so the horn would be in the back seat, because that's where you would be. And then you would honk at them.
Well, no, I'm assuming I'm attached to this thing. Like, I put it on.
Oh, yeah, you can do that,
and it drives on. My hands are moving, but I'm not really driving.
Nice.
Yeah, well,
Same
you're
with the
texting.
pedals, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Tasty's good at this, too.
That'd be good.
I like it.
Let's combine the two somehow.
Yeah. All right. We're running a little short on time, so I think I might move feedback
3 hours.
to the end of the show. We'll do it that way. I don't want to make the guys from Left Hand wait any longer than they have to, right? So why don't we do this? We'll take ourselves a quick break, and we'll do feedback at the end of the program. We've got Left Hand Brewing Company's Eric Wallace and Ro Gunzel on the program tonight to talk Left Hand beer. I think we'll go get some poured into our glass right now. When we come back, we'll talk to the boys. Susie's working the chat room, so hit the chat button on our homepage, not our live stream page, our website, and that's how you can ask us questions. Or call 888-401-BEER. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hi, I'm Jamel Zanishev, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Home Brewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your home brew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zanishev. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
A vial of White Labs yeast is the key to your best beer. When you open a vial of White Labs yeast, you're giving your beer its best chance for a perfect fermentation. In addition to their already incredible variety of yeasts, White Labs is proud to announce WLP 90, San Diego's super yeast, now available year-round. WLP 90 is super clean, super fast fermenting, with low esters and has a neutral flavor and aroma profile. It's alcohol tolerant and highly flocculent. For more of the latest White Labs news, click over to whitelabs.com, where you can read reviews of yeast, learn in the lab section, and join the customer club. And if you should find yourself in San Diego, White Labs has a brand new training facility for craft brewers and home brewers alike. whitelabs.com. Discover yeast, nutrients, enzymes, and more for commercial breweries, home brewers, and homebrew stores. White Labs. It's all in the vial. A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and Brewing brother Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California, and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
This is www.thebrewingnetwork.com.
Sit down next to it, grab yourself a paper towel, and watch those yeast have sex.
You're listening to the Brewing Network.
The session.
Brewing up our next batch of radio gold.
Right now.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks to our wonderful sponsors that you heard there at the break, especially More Beer, who brings you this Sunday session. Oh, Monday session. Stupid thing. Whatever day it is. Each and every time. Go to morebeer.com and check it out. All right, on the line with me right now, we've got the boys from Left Hand Brewing Company. I'm excited to have these guys on the show. I've been drinking their beer for years. So, gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
There we go. We've got Eric Wallace. He's the president and one of the founders as well. And Ro Gunzel. Ro, am I saying that right?
That's good enough.
Good enough. You say it for me. I still won't get it right, but it's good to hear.
I say Gunzel.
You say Gunzel. You just keep it simple.
Yeah.
I like a man who doesn't correct others on the mispronunciation of their name.
So I got to be honest with you, so do I. Like, people ask me too, and I go, I don't give a shit. Like, unless you're calling me an asshole, I don't care.
And even then.
You know, even then, yeah, it's fine. Ro Gunzel, he's the head brewer over there at Left Hand as well. So thanks for being on the program, guys. I do appreciate it. Are you phoning us live from Longmont at the brewery today, or what?
We are live from across the street from World Headquarters.
Beautiful.
Right above our tasting room, actually.
Oh, perfect. Excellent. Is the tasting room happening right now? Or you guys...
Tasting room is happening, and we just went down and refilled our glasses while we were waiting.
Excellent. I've been to your tasting room, although I have a feeling it might have been an old tasting room. It was several years ago. One time when I went out for GABF. So you guys have probably moved since then, or have you been in the same spot for years?
Well, we believe in continuous improvement, so we've been continuously improving it for the last 20 years. It's it grows a little bit at a time. Every couple of years, we add on to it, so it's over 2,000 square feet of space for us to host people, have live music, pour lots of great beer. Enjoy the sunset that we just had.
Excellent. And is this Ro or Eric that we're speaking to here?
It's Eric.
Is Eric?
Right.
Okay, wonderful. Now, Eric, you started the company back in '93 with another partner. Is that right?
That is correct.
What made you decide to get into the beer world back in '93?
Oh, my formative beer experiences were initially growing up, going to high school in Germany. I was an Air Force brat before I was in the Air Force, so
okay.
I lived in a small German village, and if we played well, our coach would buy us a beer. That happened once or twice a season. Most of the time, he wasn't buying us beer, but
you weren't very good.
Didn't matter.
It was a small town, and beers is part of the culture over there. So that was my initial exposure. And when I moved back to the States, I was 17 and jaded. I just couldn't figure out why all the beer tasted watered down. So I was always paying attention, though I certainly didn't know very much about it back then.
Sure. But you remembered it being very different than what you were drinking back home here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So I have here that the name of your company that you actually ended up starting was not Left Hand at all. What was the brewery that you started?
No, well, we incorporated under. I'm getting some. We incorporated under Indian Peaks Brewing Company, and the Indian Peaks are a really beautiful range of mountains that we can see from where we were living, and that seemed like a good idea until we found out that we had a little bit of a name conflict with some guys down the road. So we changed it to Left Hand Brewing Company. We were living in a town called Niwot at the time, and Niwot means left hand in Arapaho.
Okay.
So there's a lot of left hand stuff around here. One of the creeks that flooded back in September was Left Hand Creek.
Got it. All right, we're going to talk about that a little later too, because I got that in my notes. It was kind of a crazy time for you guys. So imagine that even in the time before Google, it only took a short time to find out that there was a brewery or a beer operating under the same name.
Not only before Google, but before the real craft beer scene explosion. It's
sure.
Like, isn't that bad luck? How many other breweries were there in your town?
In Colorado, there were 32 or 33.
Yeah, Colorado was
still pretty popular.
They were on the forefront. But I'm just saying,
back in '93, yeah, I mean, most states didn't have that many, but I think we've cracked 200 plus now.
Wow, that's amazing. God bless Colorado. That's my presidential campaign right there.
You used to sign your email that way. It used to be your email signature for the longest time, and I never got it.
Yeah, now you know why. It's over 200 breweries.
Right.
But I'm just saying that even before you could, Google a name, they found out quickly. Now, it takes 2 seconds to find out what everything's named, and people still can't fucking figure it out. Anyway,
what everything's
that's
named.
neither here nor there. So you guys, I actually like the name Left Hand better than Indian Peaks Brewing Company.
I do too.
I think it's a good choice you guys made.
We do too.
Good. Yeah. There's no going back now. So
and it lends itself really nicely to our logo.
Yeah, it really does. Which is
there's no peaks in that hand. Yes,
it's funny. They had the Left Hand logo first, and they're like, "What is that? It's kind of strange."
5 peaks. I don't.
What is it? What?
5 Finger Brewing Company.
Right. Now, your original founder is he still involved with the company? The other original founder, Dick Dorr.
Dick Dorr he's our plant engineer, so he handles all of the project management, design, maintenance, across the entire brewery. He's responsible for all of that.
Excellent.
If you head over to our live stream page, you will see an early shot of Dick Dorr, I'm assuming from about 93, 94, sporting the hipster beard and mop of hair before it was cool.
Ah.
He's a full-on Grizzly Adams look going, I think, in that one.
Yeah.
You wouldn't recognize him now. He's completely shorn.
Oh, he's all clean cut now.
What a sellout. I don't know.
He's bucking the trends. I like this guy.
Well, we like the old version better. That's all we're saying.
Right. All right, so that's brewingnetwork.com/TV. There's video there of our studio, but also we'll post some different pictures throughout the show that you can see to the guys we're talking to at Left Hand. So where did you build the original brewery, and is that still your brewery today?
The original brewery is right where we are sitting, just about. Actually, where we were sitting was suspended about 8 feet off the ground when we started the brewery because it was outside the original walls. But
got it.
the building we took over was built in the early '60s as an economic development project in Longmont, and it was a meat packing plant for many years. And when we were looking around for space in '93, Dick was out looking while I was retrieving my gear from up in Alaska with my wife, and he came across this building here. It's perfect. It has sloped floors, thick walls, refrigeration. It was completely set up to be a meat packing plant, which conveniently for us also really set it up to be a brewery.
It's perfect.
That's nice, yeah.
I mean, set up for blood, but,
Yeah, instead of hosing blood down the drain.
Also perfect for beer.
Yeah, and you have a room with rotating knives. It's pretty good.
Yeah, what do you use that for now?
we did have to cut down all the meat rails that were hung from the ceiling.
I bet. Yeah. Well, that's cool. So that I know that one of the biggest expenses in starting a brewery is actually getting a building that works with floor drains and sloped floors. So it sounds like you guys were able to luck out with something very useful to a brewery.
Yeah, it was a good find. There were no breweries in Longmont back then, and we only had scraped together $149,000 total, and we had to make a go with that. So, having a lot of that work done for us in advance was really key to our success in the early days.
Got it. Okay. Now, it sounds like there are already a lot of breweries in Colorado. So a lot of times when we talk to breweries that opened as early as you guys, we ask how difficult the beer scene was. I guess the question still applies to you, but it sounds like there were plenty of craft beer drinkers in Colorado for you when you started.
No, there weren't.
There weren't? Okay. So tell us about that then. Like, what was your plan? Did you feel like, we better make kind of a light beer when we start and we'll ease into it, or did you just go for it?
No, that was also not part of the process.
Okay. Tell me about it.
We started off with two beers. We started off with an ESB that Dick had been homebrewing for years, and then the other beer was a Scottish, kind of a soft Scottish blonde ale that was called Motherlode. And those were the two beers we started with. We never thought about dumbing the beer down. We basically just said, well, what would we like to be drinking? So that was the model there. Even in Colorado back then, people were somewhat aware of craft beer, but we were still a speck on the butt of the universe. There were a few brew pubs that were working, but there were a number of breweries, but they were all tiny.
Okay.
From a few hundred to a few thousand barrels max. And a lot of us were out delivering the beer ourselves in our own vans or whatever. So there was certainly no mass awareness. It was probably better off than the rest of the, barren waste of the United States beer scene back then. But it was one drinker at a time, basically just going around and sampling folks and trying to convince them to buy a little bit. So did Colorado have a foot up in 93 relative to most everywhere else? Yes. Was it teeming with great beer drinkers? No, I wouldn't characterize it like that at all.
Okay. Did you find it difficult? I mean, were you essentially just showing up at bars with tasters and saying, we'd like a handle?
Getting the handle, yeah, but showing up with free beer is not hard at all.
They were loving that, right?
Yeah. So they're always happy to talk to you.
I see.
You may not get the business. I mean, there was places we went into 29 times before we ever made a sale.
Wow. Just kept bringing samples every time?
Yeah, you show up every week, and eventually, their other suppliers weren't showing up every week for 29 weeks in a row, so they give you a shot.
Yeah.
So why would Colorado have, I would assume, the largest number of breweries per capita than probably any other state, and in the absence of, a lot of beer drinkers? It's kind of strange.
Well, there were more back then than there are now.
Yeah.
I'm hearing this strange echo coming back at me through Skype, so it's hard to talk. There were more beer drinkers in Colorado, obviously, back then, or more craft beer drinkers.
So there was
I think it's because of a couple of factors. You've got a pretty highly educated population in our area. We're located in Boulder County.
Sure.
You've got people that have traveled quite a bit. It's a fairly doing all right economically area. We've got great water, so you can make great beer. Yeah. The climate is really nice. Even in the summertime, scorching hot days generally turn into pretty nice, cool nights. So beers with a little more flavor and heft are easier to drink if you live in Colorado than as opposed to somewhere it's 91 degrees and muggy at midnight.
Yeah. Used to live there. What's the beer in our glass right now, Moscow?
This is the Sawtooth Ale, the 94 GABF Gold for Amber Ale.
And this was the first brew that you guys made too, right?
That was the very first beer we brewed. Yeah, it won the gold for bitter back in '94, and it won the gold for bitter again in 2013.
Nice.
2013.
Same beer, right? You haven't changed it at all, have you?
No, not really.
Yeah. Well, it stands up, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is a fantastic beer. I can't believe you brewed this beer that's in my glass in 1994.
You would never know.
How's it holding up?
Beautiful.
Well, your bottling line is awesome.
I'll tell you what.
We have negative oxygen in the bottle.
Yeah.
It owes oxygen.
No, actually, the beer really is good. The recipe's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the ingredients and the recipe?
I'm going to let Rose speak since he's just sitting here quietly.
Wake him up. There you go. Hammer it home, bro.
I was getting to enjoy a beer.
Sorry. Now we are.
So this is a beer that Dick created, and it's a traditional ESB with some nice firm American twists. And so there's a nice malt chewiness on the mouth, and then you have this beautiful, it's finished with a heavy hand of Cascade.
Okay.
So you get that nice citrusy American finish, but it's a great beer. It's really, really complex but approachable, and so it fits with the average, ordinary crossover drinkers. But it's something that I think a lot of serious beer geeks can really appreciate and enjoy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think especially with the healthy dose of Cascade there, beer geeks will like it just the same. Is it American base malt or British?
Our base malt that goes into pretty much every beer that we make is raw two-row.
Okay.
Which is primarily coming out of Canada.
All right. And what kind of specialty malts are in this beer? Because it definitely has a great, I think, a complex malt character. It's very layered. I think it tastes like there's a few things going on in there.
It's three different levels of crystal malt. Munich malt, I really appreciate and enjoy. That's Gambrinus Munich 10L. And a little bit of wheat malt thrown in there for some head retention.
Okay.
And we use CTZs, Columbus Tomahawk Zeus, Goldings, Willamette, and Cascades for the hopping.
I like this beer a lot.
So you don't use any English crystal at all?
No. It's all either American or Canadian ingredients.
And the yeast, it's not English either then, is that it?
No, we originally tried to use an authentic English yeast, but that nice metallic bite that it was creating in each of our test batches just didn't taste good.
Yeah.
So we kind of went back and started playing with some cleaner, yeast that were available back then, Chico and stuff like that. And that the yeast that we use now is a mutated version of the yeast we started brewing back then. So we isolated it after quite a number of generations when it was just kicking ass for us, and that's what we go back to as our base yeast strain now.
Okay. Is this your best-selling beer, your flagship beer here?
It was for 16 or so years.
Wow.
And then the milk stout phenomenon came blowing up, and now we're selling about 2.5 times the milk stout that we're selling of Sawtooth.
Wow. What made you guys decide on a milk stout? Was it something you had tasted from another brewery, or did somebody have a home recipe that you just loved? How'd you get to it?
Well, there were no milk stouts back then, really.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Dick was over with his brother in Tanzania, climbing Kilimanjaro and God knows what else, and he came across an SAB I think it was Castle Milk Stout. It's the one he tasted, and he tried this style, and he thought it was really interesting. So when he got back, he said, "Hey, I want to try to brew this beer that I had. I never had one before." So we started working up tests, and the Milk Stout prototype 1 was born. We did it as a single brew seasonal 20-barrel batch back in 2001, something like that.
Okay.
Way back. And then the following year we did a couple batches, draft only, and then we started doing some bomber bottles. And finally, when we put it into 6-packs, we still intended to just do it seasonally, but it really started to take off and kind of started running away from us.
It's such an awesome beer. I'm going to come back to it and ask you guys a little bit more about the recipe, only because it's not in my glass, and I want it to be. And we have 2 different versions of it here in the studio, too, so I want to be able to talk about that. In the meantime, one of the questions I had for you was just answered by the beer poured in my glass, and that was if you guys do any lagers. And then Scott here poured us a Pilsner.
Yeah, we all love ourselves a Pils here, so I figured we'll hold off on the stout and do a little Pils first.
I'd like to commend you first off for doing a lager. A lot of the breweries we talk to, I'm sure you know the standard answer. Well, it's just hard to do. We don't have enough tank space, or we can't tie up tank space. But you guys went for it.
Yeah, we're masochistic like that.
It's the reason they opened a brewery in a state with no beer drinkers.
Yeah, Rose, he's sitting here, he can pipe up, is a Germanophile when it comes to brewing. I grew up in Germany. When we rebuilt that beer came to us kind of through the merger with Tabernash back in '98. They brought over a couple of beers, and they were primarily German-oriented beers. The Left Hand was generally more English-oriented. So we ended up with a Pilsner, but it was a kind of a pretty flabby version of a Pilsner. Nice beer, but we took it back down basically to bare bones and reworked every element of it. And, brought the malt, dried it up a little bit, brought the hops up, make it a little snappier. And then the last thing we did was change the yeast strain. And we ended up with, I think, a beer that can stand up, worldwide. It won the gold in 2012 at the Brussels Beer Challenge.
Wow.
It's a really good beer. Yeah.
Gold for Pilsner. So that's a pretty good way to introduce yourself with all the German brewers.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like my compliment is going to pale in comparison, but this is an awesome Pilsner.
I would drink more of this. Yeah, that tends to pale in comparison to
winning
an award.
There. Yeah. I love this Pilsner. It's got all the spiciness I think that a good Pilsner should have coming from those hops.
It's like a German Pilsner.
Has that perfumey malt thing happening?
Yeah. It's also dry, like you mentioned, that they kind of dried out the original recipe that they had, and you definitely get that.
Yeah, it's nice and crisp.
That's really good.
In fact, I think that really helps to accentuate the spicy part of it in those hops is by drying it out. God damn, that's a good beer. Is this available in California even?
No, we don't sell in California.
How many states are you in?
27.
What's wrong with California then? We're pretty. I mean, really, we might be bigger than.
We sold in California in the past, and ended up pulling out. Who wasn't really doing much out there at the time, and we've got all these other markets that basically, in the meantime, have caught fire. We're continually reinvesting in capacity here at the brewery, and since we don't take outside money, we can only grow so quickly. We've been growing between 30 and 50% a year for the last several years, just trying to keep up with existing markets. California is the biggest single market in the country, so
that's a big step.
We're not ready yet.
Yeah.
We basically have to keep building capacity and the ability to support it when we move in. So,
what's your largest
when
size?
When we're ready, we'll be coming in, but that's a large undertaking for us.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to take it on unless you had the beer to supply it. It would be kind of
and we want to do it.
Uh-oh. Everybody knows that sound.
Beer, it sounds like.
Oh, no, there we go. We thought we lost you. Actually, there was an odd click and a silence, and we all know that sound in here.
Right.
But hey, you're back. It's good.
So, Eric, what is the largest fermenter size that you have in your brewery? So
480 barrel.
So you can make a lot of beer.
we can make
of your
a lot
flagships.
yeah, last year we made coming on close to 66,000 barrels.
Oh, wow. So that's 26. I see. Yeah. And you still have enough demand in those states to make even more beer without even thinking about another state. Is that it?
Yeah, we've been brewing about 80,000 barrel pace so far this year.
Wow. So you're really... Wow.
That's great.
Well, if you need more money, I'm sure Budweiser's more than happy to step in and help you guys out.
Yeah.
I get calls every week from people that would be happy to help out.
You know, as soon as JP said that, and of course you mentioned that you guys don't take out outside funding, I certainly was going to ask that because you guys do seem like the kind of ideal company for these new, acquisitions or even bursts of funding based on that you are in 26 states already. Your capacity seems really good.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of solid beers.
Yeah, a little debt.
You must get a lot of offers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not why we do it.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation earlier with a couple of our people, and we've been accused of some interesting things here of late, and being money grubbers and all of this. And if that was what it was all about, I'd sell tomorrow because the offers that they're making are pretty ridiculous. But that's not why we do what we do. We love making great beer and being involved in our community, and we're primarily an employee-owned brewery. 60-something% of our employees here all own stock in the company. So it's a mission from God. It's not a purely return on investment type deal, though those kind of considerations are critical when you're operating a business, but that's not the end all be all.
Love it. Well, to our listeners who are in the 26 state zone, I highly recommend going and picking up some Polestar Pilsner.
You definitely should, even though they are charging for it. These guys have the nerve to charge for it.
To actually make money for their product.
So sellouts.
I thought they were doing it for the beer. I thought it was
they say it's for the love, but you have to pay them for the beer,
They're not on, right?
Huh?
Polestar Pils, folks. It's goddamn good
really
beer.
good.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Is it, Ro, is it all noble hops, or you got American hops in here?
This is strictly American hops in there.
No kidding. What are they?
Again, I like bittering is bittering, so it's CTZs for the bittering, and then we have some Mount Hoods in there.
Okay,
a little flavor, and then Sterling's is what the finishing is.
Ah, it's so good.
So we started off using SOTs, but
the market
supply
there was horrible, and Sterling's were so much more reliable. We had greater consistency with them, and it was a suitable substitute. I thought.
Yeah, I like where you landed.
Yeah.
It's good.
You mentioned you switched yeasts. What did you finally decide on?
Well, when we took these beers over, it was the entire Tabernacle line, and they were trying to produce a Pilsner, which I would have put more in the category of a Helles, a Dunkel, Bach beers. Oktoberfest were being made year round. So they had
beer. California
Common.
There you go.
Water vapor beer.
A fairly broad lager yeast that was being used, and when I came on, it was pretty much only Pilsner, the only lager beer we were producing, or the Helles, the Tabernacle Pilsner. And so I tried to select a yeast that would be more suitable for a Pilsner type ferment, very dry finishing, great malt character in there. And so, we played around. We looked at, I think, 8 different lager yeast strains and finally settled on this one.
What temperature do you like to ferment at?
This one is at 9 degrees Celsius.
Yep. Okay. It's really low sulfur, right, Tasty?
Yeah, it's really clean, really crisp. Yeah.
And I don't actually mind a little sulfur in my Pilsners, but in this one, because it's it's just even better because you're not picking up any of that.
Yeah, it's just really clean. Really gets right to the malt character of the beer.
Is that something you guys weeded out in the test too?
One of the fun things about what we do is going into the cellar, 6-7 days into a Pilsner fermentation, and it is sulfury. And to see that drive off and how well the yeast performs is remarkable.
Another key, I think, of that is we noticed it when we were playing with different yeasts. It really kicked up that malty, biscuity kind of foundation to the beer, which for me is key. We're all always talking about balance and drinkability in a beer. And as you guys know, Pilsner is one of the hardest styles to brew because it's such a clean, snappy, dry beer. There's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
So if you're able to do it in something like that, that's the first beer that a brewer will be served when they come to visit us. And that's the first beer I'll try when I'm visiting somebody else if they've got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that really good malt character, which is not easy to do in a smaller beer like that. It's great.
And I agree with your method, too. Either the Pale Ale or the Pilsner, if they have one, is always the first beer I'm going to try when I visit a brewery, too. And it does say a lot, right, in that first drink.
That's why the first beer I ever homebrewed was a stout.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. They all taste good.
Good call. Do you have to do any kind of a diacetyl rest with this yeast, or does it just ferment clean at 9C the whole way?
It's a pretty clean yeast. We'll take it about.
That's hard to talk, right?
Up to about 70% attenuation, and then we'll bump the temp and let it free rise up to 11C.
Okay. I just did that with my Schwarzbier. Tasty.
Did you do the Narcissus fermentation?
I did a little diacetyl rest. Here, let me bore you for a second, Ro. So I started my Schwarzbier at 50C, but I intended to start lower than that. I wanted it to be lower
50C.
Sorry, 50F. Thank you. 50F. 50C. Oh, it's going to be great.
Little estery.
Oh, it's really going to be great.
Probably
nice and fusily.
I'm so dumb, I don't know on which side to laugh at you.
Yeah.
If it's too cold or too hot.
All right, so 50F. And I meant for it to start lower and sort of raise up to 50, but it just didn't work out that way. So my secondary plan then, according to the instructions I got, were to raise it somewhere between 5 and 10 degrees after 2/3 of fermentation had occurred to get rid of the diacetyl, which I was really worried about. So I just did that with my Schwarzbier, and now I'm hoping for the best. And it's the first lager I ever brewed, so I promise not to send you guys any.
Oh, come on. We sent you beer.
Yeah, you sent us great beer,
Yeah,
man.
you were doing us a
when ours is
favor.
great, we'll send it.
Yeah.
You have a QA department.
We'll see how it comes out. But hence all my fermentation questions for you guys, because I do think, I don't know that. Is it that lagers are difficult to brew, or is it just that it's just that there's no masking, in a Pilsner like this? You see what I mean? Like, if you're a good brewer, if you have the skills like you guys clearly do, is the challenge the beer itself? Like, in terms of techniques, or is the challenge just getting the recipe right?
Well, I think you're overlooking one big concern as a brewery that sells beer for a living, as bad as that sounds. But we tie up our tanks for about 5 to 6 weeks with our Pilsner beer. We could turn 2.5 to 3 times that much milk stout or sawtooth in that same time. So it's it's really a labor of love and a sacrifice that we're willing to make to have a beer that we really enjoy drinking.
No, I understand that part. But I also, when I walk into craft breweries and the first one I have is their Pilsner, it's not so often that it's as good as this, or even close. And so I guess I'm just wondering, these are also other accomplished brewers. Is it really outside of your wheelhouse technically to brew a great Pilsner? Or is it just a matter of the amount of R&D that you spent to get the recipe right?
You gotta work your ass off at doing it correctly.
Yeah,
it's not an easy beer to make, which is why the other day we were at the Peak to Peak Pro-Am judging beers all day, and all the local breweries were coming in to pick their Pro-Am beers at the best of show round, and I offered to buy them all a beer. And they all picked Pilsner.
Right.
That's what I had 5 guys sitting there. I was drinking one too. We were all drinking Pilsner together. Because if you can do it, you're going to get respect, because it is not simple. It's not easy.
No place to hide, like you say.
All right, that's what I was getting at. So that's a good answer. And I can see why they would all order it from you too. It's great stuff. All right, I got to do this. I got to take a quick break. And at the break, we're going to pour, I think, 2 different versions of your milk stout in our glass. We'll come back and talk about that. Can you guys hang out for a couple minutes?
Read the instructions before you pour the nitro.
All right, Scott.
I watched the video. Even better.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
All All right, we're talking to the guys from Left Hand Brewing Company out of Colorado, and wonderful beer so far. We've got more to open up. If you have questions, 888-401-BEER. That's our phone number, 888-401-BEER. Feel free to call in and ask questions. Also, hit the chat button on our homepage. I see a bunch of you in there now, and I got a few questions in there already. Hang in there. It's the session.
Listening to the Brewcasters.
The Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small. Single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit!
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zanishev, and I want to tell you about my favorite Heretic beer, Shallow Grave Porter. I love the rich, malty character of this beer. While full and rich, Shallow Grave has an easy drinking finish that isn't too sweet. I've always loved my homebrew porter recipe, so when it's time to brew Heretic Shallow Grave, I started with that in mind. But I tweaked it with all my latest recipe ideas. Just like in homebrewing, I made sure we used only the finest malts that would produce the ideal flavor for this beer. We used select British malts to get the rich chocolate and caramel flavors, and we spared no expense. The result is a beer as dark as a moonless night, with hints of vanilla, coffee, and chocolate, perfect for a cool evening out in the woods. Cheers.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. New items include the Big Oxygen Kit for economical wort aeration using common welding oxygen tanks, and the Unistat line of external thermostats for easy control of both electric heaters and refrigerators. In addition, they've just mashed their new oatmeal stout malt extract, so you can make those tasty winter oatmeal stouts and porters without mashing. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays, shipped the same day. Brewing is easy. The Williams way.
Hey, Wooly, I'm beat. Can we find a nice tree to just hang out in for a while?
You're beat. I've been swinging through this forest for 50 years, ever since we first escaped from the circus. I know, but there's got to be more to life than exploring this creek and trying to populate the valley by copulating with loose, hairy girls. Marquis, stop. Look! What is that? It looks like a man-made treehouse. With fresh food and craft beer.
Welcome to the Creek Monkey Tap House, boys. Grab a seat. Creek Monkeys drink free.
Awesome! The Creek Monkey Tap House in Martinez, California takes their mission of fresh food and beer seriously. They only serve locally raised beef and chicken, as well as local sustainable produce. It's better for you and the planet, and it just tastes better. The beer and wine at Creek Monkey Tap House are chosen with the same care for the highest quality and rotate frequently to make each visit an adventure. Swing on into the Creek Monkey Tap House and enjoy a new legend of amazing food, beer, and wine. The Creek Monkey Tap House, online at creekmonkey.com.
Hey brewers, it's planting season. Have you ever dreamt of walking through your own hop garden? Well, look no further than Woodburn, Oregon, and the Crosby Family Hop Farm. Blake Crosby and his family have been passionately growing hops for 5 generations. And right now, they're taking orders for 2014 rhizomes for all retail and wholesale customers. The Crosbys know how to grow hops and are here to help you establish your family's very own successful hop garden. In fact, when you plant a hop rhizome from the Crosbys, you're using the same plant your favorite professional brewer bought his hops from. Friendly professional service, fast shipment, and quality hops at competitive prices. The Crosby family brings all of this to you. Call 503-982-5166 or visit bcrosbyhops.com and let Blake Crosby and the Crosby Hop Farm help make your hop garden a reality. bcrosbyhops.com. Hops from the Crosby family farm to yours.
Hilo, what's it feel like?
Take awesome and multiply it by 2.
Yeah!
Spraying live beer radio all over your face.
Can't get any better than this, baby.
It's the Brewing Network.
Tuned into this session
because life's too short to listen to crappy radio.
Damn right it is. Hang in there. It's the session. We're back. Thanks for sticking with us. We got Left Hand Brewing Company on the air with us right now. I've got Milk Stout in 2 different versions in front of me. So
2 different glasses even, too.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. All right, we've got Eric and Ro. Eric, the president, one of the founders of Left Hand. Also, Ro, he's the head brewer over there on the line with us. Again, thanks for sticking with us, guys. We appreciate having you on the show.
Oh, pleasure to be here.
All right, so Scott at the break followed the instructions via the video and the bottle of how to pour the Left Hand Milk Stout on nitro. And which is basically to completely upend the bottle and dump it upside down into a pint glass. Is that about right?
That's absolutely correct. There's different styles that you can use to attain that same result.
What do you mean, different styles of pouring or of beer?
Of pouring, like some guys will put the glass on top of the bottle and invert the whole thing and kind of pour it. You're familiar with the German wheat beer pour?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do it. You do it kind of like that, except that you don't suck the foam back into the bottle.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. And while we're at it, essentially, do I have this right that you guys have? I can't tell if you've invented or perfected, and you could let me know, the widgetless nitro bottle.
Well, from our standpoint, we invented it.
Okay.
Because it didn't exist here in our market, and we didn't pay anyone to tell us how to do it. We basically figured it out trial and error over a couple of years.
What is the problem to overcome? Why is the widget necessary? In other words, how come it doesn't just work like CO2?
Having no experience with widgets,
yeah,
not quite sure why they're necessary.
I see.
But that's the way they always happen, and we started under the assumption that was probably the right path. But ultimately, after, like I said, years of buying different pieces of equipment and trying to get it right, and I mean, we did a lot of work getting the draft to work consistently, and for us to be able to actually to do it in quantity consistently. And then we started working on the bottles, and it was a much more complex problem. So we just started working trial and error. Every time they came and wanted to buy more equipment, we kept buying it until we finally got to a point. I said, "Wait a minute, let's see how close we can get with all of these toys we've purchased so far."
Yeah,
and see where we are.
So, is it safe to? I don't know how much you're willing to talk about the process, but is it safe to say then that it's not the same as carbonating to a certain pressure like you would CO2, but instead you're using nitrogen and you just carbonate to a certain pressure and then you bottle it that way? It doesn't stay in solution or something?
The answer to your question, is it safe to say, is yes.
Okay. It's not as simple as that.
We also have a great YouTube video in which we disclose the entire process of nitrogenating beer.
Oh, where can people find that?
On YouTube, I'm sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's very enlightening. Go watch it. Yeah, you'll know everything you need to know about doing that with your homebrew after you see it. I promise.
Okay.
You'll understand why we're not going into details.
Well, nitrogen is one of those gases that is it's very difficult to get into the beer, and it's very difficult to get out of the beer. And that's the purpose for the widget. That's the purpose for the restrictor plates and the nitro faucets. You need to really agitate that liquid in order to get that gas to break out. And we discovered that through the impact on the bottom of the glass, gravity is in effect, pretty much around the world, that, simply by pouring hard, you can get that gas to start breaking out instead of using a little piece of plastic.
And how can I find out about gravity? Do I just Google that also?
There's a YouTube video in which Isaac Newton discloses the secrets behind gravity.
I see.
Yeah, there's a great wiki article on it if you want to go check that out.
Okay, good.
I love Isaac Newton's YouTube page.
They also have these courses in college that you can go to called physics.
Oh,
Physics.
Perfect. I've heard about college.
Who can afford that?
Yeah, who can afford that?
It's an emerging science.
All right. So, Left Hand Milk Stout, I have both the nitro version and then I guess, I don't know what's called, the traditional version in my glass.
Is it the same beer?
It's the same beer.
Very different taste to me.
Yeah.
And I very much prefer the nitro. It's
Really?
Oh, I think, by the way, whatever you have done to make it work, you've done it. I mean, it really, the head is exactly what I would expect if it were poured on draft off of nitro. It's thick, it's lasting, it's stuck around, it's creamy. They're the very thin, tiny nitro bubbles you'd expect. I also think that because of the lack of carbonic acid, that you're going to find in the CO2 beer, it's just a great, really wonderful flavor on my palate. It's both sweet but balanced, just like you've done the recipe. I think it makes the recipe shine without the carbonic acid getting in the way. Now, of course, the other one's good too. That's actually the one I had years ago and also loved it. But it's like the nitro just takes it up to 11. I mean, it really.
Yeah, the lactose is a key in there because it balances out that roastiness in the dark malts. So that's where you got your balance in the original traditional milk stout. So it comes out as a pretty soft beer. But like you were saying, with the nitro version, you've got much less carbonic bite. So you have this really luscious, soft pour. And that, my theory is that the nitrogen technology was developed to emulate the effect that you get when you pour a beer on a beer engine, a cask ale, because you get that rich, creamy head, low carbonation, super soft, and it just slides down your gullet. You can drink those things all night long.
Exactly. And I'm telling you that it's executed flawlessly. Widget or no widget, it really came out great.
That's really more about my pour, though, than it is about the beer. So
Scott did.
Great work, Scott.
Thank you.
You've mastered YouTube.
Can I take a stab here? Do you have the bottles in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Can you look at the bottle stamp or the coating that's printed on the shoulder of the bottle?
Yes.
There'll be 2 lines of numbers, and that top line will have 3 digits and then a timestamp, and then the last set of numbers is our batch number, and so it'll be in the 1700 or the thousands.
2194 dash.
Okay. On the nitro.
On the nitro.
And what about the regular?
Where are we looking here?
It's in yellow.
Yeah, on the glass.
My nitro is 2184, by the way.
Okay.
I'm not seeing it on the
no stamper?
Yeah.
Oh,
it must be here.
Is this it right here?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
We're old in here. We're trying to see things.
Yeah, I'm old.
Somebody with some glasses.
All right, so the
I can see it.
We have glasses, just not the right kind.
If Warren can see it, it's a 2179 or 6. 2176.
Yeah, and I got 2178.
All
All right, so we were closer. I was hoping that those would be the same batches coming off the brew house. It's all it's all in the execution downstream is where that nitrogenation comes in.
I see. So literally, it could come out of the exact same tank, is what you're saying.
This is the same batch. Yeah, 2178.
Okay.
Could come out of the same fermenter, which apparently those did.
They did. And it really is. It's a different flavor. There are other things in the that come out in the CO2 version, I think, too. Like, I think the chocolate comes out a little more in the CO2 one, and it becomes, I don't think sweeter is the right word, but
the perception is sweeter, though.
A little bit.
Even despite the carbonic acid, which is weird, and I think that's why I like it more.
It's got a little more zing on it in the CO2, I think.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Depending on my mood, sometimes I prefer the nitro, sometimes I prefer the CO2.
What I think you've done, though, is you've taken and you already sort of expressed that it was one heck of a seller for you guys once, and kind of took on a life of its own. You've taken something that was already incredible, and like I said, I think you just turned it up to 11. To me, you made it more incredible. That's a smart move. I love it.
Thank you. It was a fun project, and it's caused quite an interesting ride. We've now started playing around with other stuff. We always do cask ale in the tasting room. We have 2 engines going on right now. One's got Sawtooth on it, and one's got the Good Juju, the ginger ale that we do on it. So there's always 2 beers running on casks. So we've now started bottling a Nitro Sawtooth and a Nitro Wake Up Dead, which is our Imperial Stout.
Very nice. Okay. So you're going with the Nitro. I saw this week that you guys are looking to. Are you trying to trademark Nitro also?
We've been pursuing that since 2011.
Oh yeah,
when we first started rolling the bottles out, we have obviously you can see the bottle. What's the biggest word in the middle of that bottle?
Nitro.
Oh well, in 2011 we applied for trademark. And we discovered that somebody already had the Nitro trademark.
Oh.
So we started doing some research, and we couldn't find a mention of it anywhere on the World Wide Web. This amazing device that if we pour a beer for a half hour in our tasting room one time, it's going to pop up somewhere on the web.
Right, but you couldn't find this one.
We found it a little bit hard to believe that these guys actually were making a beer called that. So we did some research. We found out that it was a guy up in Canada who's associated with a brewery up there, Steamworks in Vancouver.
Yeah, we know. We've had them on the show,
and they were I will be somewhat circumspect. Let me just say that all of their assurances that they were making one and they were selling one and it was in Washington, the beer never existed. And they weren't registered, and there was no trace of the beer. So in the end, ultimately, they agreed to abandon the trademark so that we could continue our pursuit. So that happened last year, and then we refiled, and we're working through that process now.
And now, are you going to find, or have you found, it seems like one of those... Now, I'm not telling you I've seen this on a bottle before, because I haven't. But everyone talks about Nitro beers and this and that. And when you go through the trademark process, we've done it too. You know, everybody's allowed to comment and anyone's allowed to object and file objections. Is it something you feel like you're going to get a bunch of objections about, or have you?
I've gotten a lot of legal advice from people that don't seem to be practicing law.
Right, I'm sure you have.
I can put your alternator together too.
That happens a lot too. But no, like, formal objection. Like, in other words, somebody has to be able to prove, hey, I already have a Nitro beer. I have that label you're trying to do. In order to stop it, it has to be proven, right?
Well, without belaboring it too much, if you want to go on the USPTO site and do a trademark search, you'll see that there have been 2 objections filed by 2 of the largest breweries on the planet.
Okay.
Well, they haven't objected yet. They've filed to extend the opposition period.
Oh, I see.
What they've done. So we have seen no formal opposition yet.
Yeah.
We've talked to a number of people. we've always resolved every single trademark dispute we've ever had amicably with some phone calls and some meetings over beers, and figured out the best path forward. We have received a number of cease and desist letters from people who are less socially inclined to work something out amicably, I guess. But
yeah.
That's not our style.
Okay. Well, we do the same thing with our hop grenade every single week. A lot of phone calls, a lot of saying, hey, just want to talk about this if you guys don't mind talking before we send cease and desist. So I understand what you mean. And good luck. I'll tell you, Nitro Milk Stout, it's badass. That's all I have to say.
It's really good.
Can you imagine, though, if you had trademarked the phrase "the hop grenade" before anything existed? There was no Brewing Network. There was no. You're just like, I think maybe eventually I will have a hop grenade, but until then, I'm sitting on it, and then I'm going to lie about it when somebody comes to me,
right?
Or mislead or misel, whatever they did.
Well, the interesting thing is you can't. I mean, you would have had to present. They would have had to present something, even if it was false. They would have had to present something that said we actually use this in the marketplace. I had to prove that I'm using my hop grenade in the marketplace.
How did Steamworks do that then?
I have no idea. I'm just saying they would have had to present something. Clearly, it was false, whatever they presented. But you're not allowed to just say I own Scott Moskowitz without proving that I'm using you in the marketplace.
Right? Yeah, that's why the whole Steamworks thing kind of confused me.
Yeah, it gets hairy. It gets hairy, and I'm sure the left-hand guys are bored with it already.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think we should offer them advice. We should go around the table, and each one of us let them know what we think.
I know about hairy things.
Oh, yeah. Right. This is good. None of us are attorneys.
More unsolicited legal advice for you guys.
I haven't passed the bar yet.
So it's worth the price paid. That's awesome.
Exactly. How about this? I'd like to go back to Milk Stout itself and know a little bit more about the style and how to make a good one, if we could ask Ro about that. Now, I think it was Eric, you did mention that the lactose obviously has a big part to play in the beer. So maybe we could talk about that, and also what else makes it a different stout than, say, a regular American stout.
Well, lactose certainly plays a part in making a quality sweet stout. We buy lactose by the truckload.
Oh, yeah.
At the moment. We're getting to know that market pretty well, which is pretty tied into the pharmaceutical and food industry, and so it's a very volatile marketplace.
What form does that come in, and how do you get it delivered to you?
I really prefer the 80 mesh lactose. It dissolves really well. It's easy for our operators to handle in our current scenario, and works pretty well for us.
So it
comes in a bag.
It comes in a bag,
and it's a powder.
Yep, spray dried milk sugar.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
We're currently buying from a company out of Wisconsin called Milky Way.
Interesting.
Which is a great name.
Yeah, probably trademarked.
Nah.
I love their candy bars.
And where in the process does that go? Is this something you put in the kettle or later down the road?
For ease of use, we like to incorporate it in the kettle.
Okay.
There are all sorts of methods of getting lactose in there. It's something that's not metabolized by the yeast readily, and so really you could add it at the beginning of the kettle, you could add it at the end of the kettle, you could add it hot side in the whirlpool, you could add it anywhere in that process. Namely, simply looking for sterilization and dissolving of that sugar going into the work.
Have you messed around adding it in other parts of the process, or have you always done it this one way?
We've always done it this way.
Okay.
But we're looking at other ways right now. One of the main things is trying to eliminate any kettle fouling and any of the baking on of those sugars in the kettle. So as we speed up and ramp up production, that's a consideration. I don't think you really gain anything from boiling it any longer other than soil.
Okay. And other than the addition of lactose, is the base beer then just essentially just a sweet stout, or are there other components that have to be added as well?
That would be a fun thing to do, is to make a dairy-free milk stout, if we could at some point. Just do a lactose-less version of our milk stout. It's
brew a stout.
Fairly dry. I think our base beer is fairly dry. That lactose really is the big sweet creamy aspect component that you get in it.
A close cousin to this beer, the oatmeal stouts and things like that. Oatmeal stouts were really big back in the 90s. There were a number of them around, at least in our area, that were pretty tasty.
Well, the milk stout also sees a healthy contribution from flaked oats and flaked barley in the mash.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, is some of those, the malt components that do it.
You're looking for those complex carbohydrates that will stay soft and sweet in the final beer.
Okay. And how about yeast? Are you looking for something neutral, like the Chico yeast or something like that? Or do you want some ester addition, maybe an English yeast on this one?
Yeah, this is still, we maintain two house yeasts here. We have our lager yeast and our ale yeast, and that's primarily all we use. So the same yeast in the sawtooth as in the milk stout.
Okay. And a fermentation temperature on this one?
That one is about 20.5 Celsius.
Okay.
Can you say what the finishing gravity is? I did a milk stout recently, and it's just compared to normal beers, I'm concerned about how high it is because
it's going to be pretty high.
Yeah.
Well, since Eric is sitting right here next to me, I'd rather not give you that spec.
Okay.
But I will point out that on our website you can see the starting gravity and the ABV.
Okay.
And you should be able to determine what the finishing gravity is from that.
If your Pilsner finished out at that gravity, you should be gravely concerned.
Yeah.
Eric, don't you have to go take a leak or something? We got some more questions for Brett.
I got to go get another beer.
There you go.
Perfect.
So you're pre-leaking.
All right, I do have some questions from the good folks in our chat room. Our listeners have been hanging out, listening to you guys, and a few random questions. A few of them have been on the topics we've talked about, so let me throw these your way. One of our chat members wants to know if you guys plan to do any barrel-aged stuff. Or maybe you already are.
Oh, I spent the day in one of those old sausage storage rooms that's pretty old, clearing out some barrel-aged beers that we've had sitting around. So we have several that we've produced, and we have several in the works right now. We're all over the board, but we like to focus on the ESB and the milk stout and the Pilsner, really balanced beers.
And the monkey.
What's the monkey?
You guys might have the monkey.
We do. Get the monkey?
Yeah, I'm going to go grab it.
Oh, get us the monkey. Tell us about that while Scott's grabbing it.
Grabbing the monkey.
I got to have the monkey.
You got to have the monkey. That's a hop. Several years ago. How many years ago was that? Boston CBC,
watching the Boston Red Sox play the Minnesota Twins, sitting out in right field behind a post, having a conversation with our hop supplier from Brewer Supply Group.
Nice.
New hop varieties that he had access to. And this one came up, Boadicea, which has a very earthy fungal element to it that I hated when I first started working with it, but have grown to love. And this is a beer that kind of, we were hoping would stimulate a conversation as to what hops can be. Too often, I think we only see hops in one light, the citrus, piney, cat urine element, so typical of American hops, and this hop is completely different. And hopefully you have it now.
Ro and I we were in the trade show floor, and we went over there and got some of this hop in our hand and started rubbing it on our hands and warming it up, and it just has the craziest earthy, mushroomy, white cheese rindy kind of crazy aroma to it that we looked at each other and said, damn, this would make an interesting IPA, wouldn't it? Because so many of them have that classic citrus, piney, as Ro was saying. And we wanted, if we were going to make an IPA in the midst of hundreds of other really, really awesome IPAs, we wanted it to be absolutely different.
400-pound monkey.
Why 400-pound monkey? Thank you for asking. It's a funny story. Many years ago, Joe, our VP for Brewing Ops, had been up in the mountains in Steamboat at one of the beer fests, and he was pouring our Oktoberfest and our Blackjack Porter up there. And he came back down, and he was completely jazzed. And this was back in the 90s when pale ales and IPAs were just starting to get wantonly and savagely hopped and extremely bitter and completely undrinkable. And he came down and he said, "You know what? I tasted a lot of shitty beer this weekend, and any monkey can put 400 pounds of hops in the kettle, but they can't do what we do."
Nice.
And that name has been kind of riding in the background for many years. And when we decided to finally do an IPA, funnily enough, we stumbled back onto that one and said, "Hey, that'd be a kind of a funny name because it means something to us." And you don't just throw as much hops in the kettle as you can. You have to create balance and you have to create flavors, and it has to be interesting. And this is one of the great food beers that we brew. It has all of those crazy flavors in there that blend really nicely with a wide gamut of food. The Sawtooth is a great food beer because of its flexibility, but the Monkey's a really interesting one.
All of the beers, I'm glad that you brought up balance, and we've talked about it a little tonight, too. All of the beers that you've given us do have just an incredible balance. My co-host, JP, here, is notoriously not an IPA fan. And honestly, I would be surprised, JP, if this isn't an exception to your rule. I don't know if you tried it yet, but I agree with Eric when he says it's a great food beer. I think that this one has an incredible balance. It doesn't really fall into your IPA hatred category.
It's English style, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I would say it's English ingredients, English hops. So we're definitely going in that direction. It has maybe if you go to England, you're going to find very few IPAs that are that big, in the sixes.
Right.
They're brewing them lower, but yeah, I mean, we definitely weren't. It's certainly not West Coast.
It's not, and that's what I'm loving about it.
Yeah, I think, and then that's really my disdain for IPAs. Is every IPA is a West Coast quote unquote IPA, where it's just here's pale malt and 400 pounds of hops.
This is neither overly bitter. It's even only moderately hop forward, but it's not a pale ale. I'm not saying it's a pale ale. It's definitely an IPA.
But no, I think you're right. I think that crystal malt is really carrying through, and it is very well balanced.
Yeah,
it's very well balanced.
Wow.
Well, we're hardcore beer drinkers, so why? And if we're brewing beer that we like, and we're hardcore beer drinkers, then it reasonably follows that we're going to brew beers that are balanced that you can drink a whole lot of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of informs what we do.
I wish more people, I wish it logically came to that end with more breweries, but it definitely is doing that with you guys. So, all right, here's another question from our chat room. Look, I tell these guys I'll ask, so here you go. Now that weed is legal in Colorado, any plans to brew with it?
We're both sitting here shaking our heads no.
Good. I'm so glad.
It's legal in Colorado, but not the rest of the country. And we...
let me tell a little anecdote.
All right.
20 years ago, before we were open for brewing, one of our friends was talking about brewing with weed. And he said, "Don't do it. The beer tastes like shit and you ruin your stash."
Yeah.
There's so many better uses.
Oh, it's really great advice. I've had some, and it's right. That's true.
Yep.
Of
course. No exceptions.
It's so true. Yeah. All right. Listen, I just passed the questions along. Let's see.
Will you be using weed in any of your beer?
It's great for memory.
Here's a question about the water that you have access to, and you mentioned in your description of Colorado why there's a lot of breweries there that you have good water. But the specific question here is, kind of more about the water profile and if you actually have to do any augmentation to it, or do you just use it as is?
The closest traditional brewing center, incredibly soft water here, and so it makes it very easy and nice to make a beer like our Pilsner. And we'll use a lot of calcium sulfate and calcium carbonate in the Monkey and the Sawtooth and the Milk Stout. Yeah, we certainly build up the water as needed for the other beers.
Okay. So is it just kind of a standard, maybe a carbon filter, and then build up for what you need per beer?
Yep.
Okay. Good enough?
It's a large carbon filter. I can live in there with my family of 4.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a commercial. We talk about it all the time, but I don't think I've ever seen a commercial grade carbon filter. It must be enormous.
Yeah, they're huge.
The big old tank, filled with carbon.
Yeah. Okay.
The water here is pretty much all runoff water. I mean, it's coming off from snow melt and glacier, so it's first use and super soft. It hasn't come out of the ground where it's been sucking up minerals.
Right. Okay. All right, here's one. Now, this is a good question. This comes from one of our international listeners in the chat room, and it's wanting you to elaborate a little bit more on your business philosophy. And I think this came from where you mentioned that you're employee-owned for a good percentage of your company. So can you talk to us about that decision and why you decided to become kind of an employee-owned company and how that relates to your business philosophy?
Well, we started as my partner and I and my wife working here. So there was a group of 7 of us that owned the company back then. And as you survive all kinds of stupid decisions and grow your company and bring more and more people on board, I mean, there's people that work here that started for minimum wage. And we've thrown all of our efforts and passion into growing company over 20 years. And the more you grow, the more hands that are necessary to handle all of the work and the more contribution that everyone's giving. The most important asset, in our opinion, that we have is our people. And this willingness and ethically okay with a lot of people of just building something and completely fucking everyone that works there by selling out and walking away rich is a load of shit. And sorry to be so blunt about it, but that's really the way I feel about it.
Okay,
we've done something here that's really special. I moved all over the world and finally settled in a hometown that I love in Longmont, and it's a great town. And we've been able to participate in the community and make a difference here. And we're now up to 90 employees, and everyone plays a role in what we do. We have a saying here called one team. Everybody that works here, doesn't matter what you do, we make and sell beer. That's what we do. And everybody that does anything, Mark that's sitting in here with us during this interview, he runs accounting and admin, and he's a home brewer. We always ask beer questions. If I'm hiring an HVAC tech or I'm hiring, it doesn't matter what the job is. I want to talk about beer. And we want people that are here on that mission. So why would you not want your people to all align their own best interests, their self-interest with the best interests of the company? It seems foolish to me to not want that, especially on our scale where it's completely conceivable.
Wow.
You turn the question around on you, Jay. Why wouldn't you want that? What do you think? Why don't you want that?
Because my employees are assholes.
That's a good
You should sell the company, get rich, and let them all.
Yeah, I'm out of here. Right.
The problem is there's no offers.
Exactly.
Right.
So waiting for that offer.
Yeah.
All right.
Then we'll talk.
Good answer.
Hey,
Good answer.
yeah, thanks to Mark, by the way. You said he's sitting in there. Mark turned me on to these guys. I'd had their beer before, but Mark's a listener to the show, and he sent us all this great beer and said, you got to talk to my peeps here.
Good.
Thanks, Mark.
Those thanks are well placed because he was haranguing us that we had to come on to the show. He's an assiduous listener.
Oh, I love it. Well, now that you've done it, please don't hold it against him.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not his fault.
All right. Before we run out of time, I do have to ask about kind of a disaster you guys had recently with the flooding there. And you mentioned it a little bit earlier that the river that you guys are located right along flooded in something, what was it, like a 500-year storm? And
something like that.
You guys sustained some pretty serious damage, didn't you?
We had a fair amount of damage, and we were scared out of our wits. Because this river that runs normally this time of year, 30 or 40 CFS, was, if that, was running. The most recent estimates I heard from a credible source are between 27 and 30,000 CFS. So the entire valley that our industrial area here in Longmont sits in was completely full of water. There was, in places, it was over a mile wide river.
Wow.
And we sit literally from where I'm sitting right now. I could throw, not that I would, a beer bottle and land it in the river.
The last time he did that was like late 90s. He's well past
You're well
that.
over there. You've grown up
doing
now.
it, but I bet I did it.
Right.
So how much water was in the buoy?
It just came up and just wiped out all kinds of stuff all around us. Luckily, we're kind of situated where it completely surrounded us, destroyed our outbuildings, destroyed our lab, destroyed our fences, left mud just about everywhere you can imagine, and fish everywhere. But we didn't take any major flooding inside any of our principal buildings, which was pretty much miraculous. Many people were complimenting us on the use of some kind of karmic force field. They attributed it to all the fundraising and stuff that we've done for the community over the years. It's like, you guys have done so much good work that's the only reason you're not completely shut down.
You had a lot of karma in the bank, huh?
Yeah.
We used it all up, I think.
Yeah.
Well, luckily you got another 500 years before you need it.
Yeah. It takes a lot, evidently.
Hopefully not this spring when a big thunderstorm hits, because the river is completely jacked up.
Oh.
They're working on all kinds of plans to keep it in its banks as much as possible. It rerouted in multiple places. It went into areas and flooded that weren't even in the floodplain.
Wow.
So it was a pretty surreal event, standing on a roof about a half a mile north of here, overseeing a vast expanse of water that's normally just dry land, and trying to process it, where you know what you're seeing, but it's hard to believe.
Yeah, that would definitely scare the crap out of me. That's pretty serious stuff.
Have any of these changes of the river messed with your day-to-day operations at all?
Not since the flood. I mean, for 2 weeks we were living in what smelled kind of like a cattle yard or something, and then we had another 4 or 5 weeks where it was all dry, and we just lived in what we called a cloud of poo dust.
There's the shit cloud.
Because there was this mud everywhere, absolutely mud everywhere.
You went to the fish concert too, huh?
That's not.
Yeah, and we were evacuated for 4 days. You just couldn't even get in here. You couldn't cross the city because the river cut the whole city in half. So we were sitting up in coffee shops and up in restaurants planning the Oktoberfest that we run, that was already planned, and turned that into a huge. It's already a fundraiser, but it turned into a huge flood relief fundraiser. So we funneled about $70,000 in a party that the town desperately needed.
Yeah.
After this, and put about $70,000 into our Left Hand Brewing Foundation, and pumped that all back into agencies that had been involved directly in flood relief efforts.
Wow.
So it was a really scary time. It brought the community together in a really cool way, and with highly unfortunate circumstances. But it really has brought the community together. It's going to be years before everything's back to whole. They had a huge bunch of equipment out on the river today, pulling up huge slabs of what was the greenway, a big bike path, walking path that runs right next to the brewery, and they're piling it all up to get it out of the way so they can put a temporary path back in there, because it's just completely decimated over there.
Wow.
Did you shut down brewing operations in advance, or bung up the fermenters and hope for the best, or how did you, or
Prep.
did you do any prep for it?
I was actually I was the last one out of our building, and I had to go through. We have a lot of air actuated valves that control our fermenters, and so our 480 barrel tanks, we had 2 active fermentations going on. If I left those closed with no power or air to open the valves, those tanks would have been blowing off and making a huge mess and potentially, get ruined. So I physically had to pull the air tops off of those valves, set them, and then ran out of the building across the street, being yelled at by Eric to get out of here as the water's starting to break. And
Right.
I believe I was more emphatic than that.
Yeah.
We were using malt bags to block the doors, and I think out of the whole ordeal, we probably put 40 bags of malt around our building, and we threw away maybe 3 or 4 because they got water damage from moisture dripping off the roof.
Okay.
There was literally 8 inches from those malt bags is where the water line came up to. So we
Wow.
were extremely fortunate.
Absolutely. And by the way, he might have been yelling at you to get out, but he was kissing you afterward for saving those tanks.
All around your back.
I'm sure you don't even have to answer the question, Eric. I know that there was kissing involved.
We don't want to talk about that, but, all in the love of beer.
That's right.
We only lost one batch of beer because of our cooling being down, and just the fermentation got away. And we got back in here, and the beer was obviously autolyzed, so we dumped it and got going right again on that one.
Well, look, I guess after all that you can't even shake a stick at that. That's the least of your worries, I think, at that point.
I sent you that one photo that showed about 7/8 of an inch between the grain line, the scum line, to the top of the loading dock.
Yes, posting that to our live stream.
Right behind that line is where our brew house, our keg line, some of our cellar and our bottling line is.
Wow.
That's how close it got.
All right, we'll get that up on our live stream page. Once again, that's brewingnetwork.com/TV. You can see it over there. And, I'm so glad to hear that you guys made it out like that. Unfortunately, not everybody did, but good job raising some cash for people to get back on track over there.
Yeah, our neighbors down the street all got hammered. I need to mention something or I'm going to be in big trouble.
Yeah.
This weekend, Saturday, Hops and Handrails at Left Hand. We have 37 Colorado breweries coming out. We have a huge ramp that'll be set up for snowboarders or knuckle draggers, as you prefer. Rails, cars. Last year there was a car buried in the snow, so it'll be a snowboard contest, a beer fest, a fundraiser, and a lot of fun here right on the north side of Boston Avenue across from the main brewery building.
Excellent. Folks, you can go to lefthandbrewing.com. It's lefthandbrewing.com. There's an events page. I'm sure there's information about what they're talking about there. Plus, you can look up all their different beers that we've been talking about and a lot that we haven't talked about, a lot of seasonal beers. You guys actually have a lot of different brands of beer that you do, which is good to see. I mean, like you said, you're beer lovers first, so I'm not surprised.
We've been sitting here drinking a keg, some glasses of 2012 Smoke Jumper since we just released the 2014 Smoke Jumper yesterday. We thought we'd drink the old one.
Excellent. You got big plans. Craft Brewers Conference is in your state in just a couple weeks.
We'll be hosting visitors from all over the country and all over the world, showing them what we do, and hopefully going down and comparing notes and learning from all of our brethren.
Good. Well, you've revitalized my fanhood of you guys. I haven't had your beers since they're not in California, since I had that milk stout at OBF. Gosh, it was right after we started this company, so it was right around 2006. But everything you sent us was really wonderful. So I'll be in Colorado during CBC. I can't wait to get some more. And thanks for your time, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you want to come, if you're going to be swinging by the brewery, let us know. We'd be happy to show you around.
I'd love to see the place. That'd be great. Go check them out, folks. Lefthandbrewing.com. They're in 26 states, and there's a finder right there on their website. So if you want to know if they're near you, and let me reiterate. Get that damned Pilsner in your glass.
And the milk stout. And the English IPA. And the Sawtooth. It's all pretty damn good.
There it is. It's Eric Wallace and Ro Gunzel from Left Hand Brewing Company. Thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
There you go. Good dudes.
Good beer.
Sounds like a fun place to work, for one.
Yeah.
and to go hang out at. But
well, when you're not getting pounded by the local river, it's a good place to work.
Exactly. What he brought up, which I often don't. You see floods on TV, and you think about the water damage. But did you hear him mention that there was fish everywhere?
Yes.
And I know maybe that's obvious to everybody else, but I don't ever think about that. Like when the water subsides, it's not just water damage; it's a bunch of dead fish.
Yeah. Imagine a crew of guys on the loading bay just picking up fish two-handed and hurling them off the loading bay.
Yeah,
just all day.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
And I don't even, live fish stink. Never mind a bunch of dead fish all over your thing.
What kind of live fish are you catching, man? They generally don't really have
They smell like fish.
They do?
Yes.
You
Yeah, if
smell
you're
like the
touching
water.
your hands, smell like fish.
Yeah.
Well, only
what I
after a while.
Yeah.
It seems like it's
I don't
just
shower.
a waste of money, really. I mean, because I'll think about all the homeless people who could have eaten off of that fish.
Yeah.
And then just throwing it away.
Except that it was there rotting for 4 days before they were allowed back in.
If you were homeless, would you...
so it's not sushi. Big deal.
Yeah. Would you
Where do
care?
they put their refrigerator? They're homeless.
Anywhere they want.
Good question.
It's dry aged. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, they used to salt fish.
It's a
didn't they?
delicacy. Yeah.
A bunch of salt.
Salted dry aged.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. It's not just the mud. It's dead things.
It's the dead thing. Like fish.
I mean, if it was the Martinez River, it wouldn't be dead fish. It would be dead bodies.
Yeah.
But,
well, and rusty car parts.
Yeah.
There might be some tadpoles.
There might be a few. Maybe a duck or two. All right. Go to lefthandbrewing.com and check them out. And, we mentioned some of the legal issues and trademark things going on, so let me just let you know right now. They mentioned getting a bunch of bad advice. If you want some good advice, although I'm sure their lawyers are giving them good advice. It's bad advice from people like me who are like, you know what you ought to do?
I read this on the internet, and here's a 3-part system you can do.
Let me tell you about Nitro.
Yeah.
No, don't take my advice or anybody else's. Go to beerlawcenter.com and talk to our friend John over there. John's done a great job protecting the hop grenade, which is no easy task sometimes. I mean, people out there they're insane, for one.
It's true.
They're naive. And they also tend to have more money than the Brewing Network does. Yet, John has been able to protect our hop grenade each step of the way. Go to beerlawcenter.com and check it out. If you're starting a company, get started early. Don't wait to trademark your things until after it's already been stolen. Get started right away. beerlawcenter.com. John will help you out, I guarantee. All right. How about this? Let's take ourselves a quick break. Maybe find some more left-hand beer to put in our glass. I know they sent a bunch.
Yeah.
Who's our listener who helped us out?
That is Mark Bowman.
Mark, thanks again, brother. Great. Your dudes are great dudes, so thanks for sending him this way. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
All right, BN Army, it's trivia time. What's the only homebrew shop with over 1,000 recipe kits, $4.99 shipping on orders over $100, and is also home of the Wolf Shirt? The one and only answer is Austin Homebrew Supply. For over 20 years, they've specialized in creating recipes such as the best-selling Texas Blonde Ale, Apocalypso, Hop Bomb 2.0, and Double Chocolate Stout. And they just recently unveiled their small grain kits that produce 1 gallon of beer. Visit AustinHomebrew.com to browse their extensive catalog of equipment and ingredients. They also have mini clone recipes of your favorite commercial beers. They're the exclusive retailer of BrewVent yeast fuel as well, yeast nutrient, and the all-new Bodybuilder. Follow Austin Homebrew Supply on Google Plus to participate in video hangouts on popular brewing topics. So visit AustinHomebrew.com today and make sure you sign up for their weekly email with news and specials. Austin Homebrew Supply, AustinHomebrew.com.
As a brewer, you already don't settle for second best. You want great tasting beer and you want great equipment to make it with. So don't settle for the second best grain mill. You want a monster mill from Monster Brewing Hardware. Monster mills are tough, come in 2 and 3 roller designs, and are made right here in the USA from superior materials for longer lasting performance. Pick the mill that's right for you at monsterbrewinghardware.com and take Bevo's advice.
Trust me, it's always better to have a bigger tool than you think you need.
Monster mills have the best warranty in the business. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit monsterbrewinghardware.com now and check out all the mills and mill accessories. Don't settle for second best. Get a monster mill from Monster Brewing Hardware. Do you know the three most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
Tonight is the night.
We bring the creature to life, Dr. Blickmanstein?
Yes, J.P. Gore. Everything is perfect for my next fermented creation.
My doctor, the storm is too far away. We'll never have enough power to isomerize the creature's alpha acid.
Yes, J.P. Gore, we will. For I have in my possession the Tower of Power.
Blickman's new Tower of Power is the evolution of automation. Control hot liquor, sparge, and mash temps like a pro. The Tower of Power is a high-quality gas-fired rim system that works with your current brewing setup. With ultra-precision, the tower can hold your mash to 1/2 of a degree Fahrenheit. Precision and repeatability. The Tower of Power is the answer to automatic, fast ramp times. See more at BlickmanEngineering.com. Bring your next creation to life with the Tower of Power.
Dr. Blickmanstein, with the Tower of Power, you can probably give me an afternoon at the pub to enjoy a pint.
Don't be silly, J.P. Gore. We have beer to brew.
Adventures in Homebrewing has the knowledge and expertise to craft their own gear and original recipes. Some of the things homebrewing.org creates and manufactures in-house are the Brutus brew stands and propane burners, the Serial Killer adjustable 2-roller grain mill with 7-pound hopper, custom stainless steel false bottoms designed to fit kegels, coolers, and mini-sized brew pots. Visit Adventures in Homebrewing at the National Homebrewers Conference this June in their home state of Michigan to see more homebrewing.org creations. The brewers at Adventures in Homebrewing have designed a huge selection of original recipes for extract and all-grain brewing. Adventures in Homebrewing original recipes are tried and tested, proven to be of the best quality. And right now, Adventures in Homebrewing is shipping 24 of their best recipes for free. Visit homebrewing.org for the most current selection. Once you try one of Adventures in Homebrewing recipes, you'll keep coming back for more. And now, it's even easier with free shipping on these kits. And don't forget to use the current coupon code AIH10. Adventures in Homebrewing at homebrewing.org.
Mix me your 100-grain amber recipe, and I'm going to eat it. And then it can ferment in my gut. It totally works. The beer is almost identical to the grain sandwich.
Your colon won't know what hit it.
The home of live beer radio.
TheBrewingNetwork.com.
Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
You're listening to The Session.
888-401-BEER.
This is The Session.
All right. Welcome back to the program, and thanks so much for sticking with us. Thanks to Left Hand Brewing Company for sticking with us and coming on the show, too, talking beer and sending us some good beer, too. It really is damn good beer. If they were distributed in California, I think they'd go into my regular rotation.
I'd be drinking it.
It's a small rotation, to be like you guys hear me talk about it. Or like what is it? It's Drake's and Firestone and Lagunitas and
Drake's.
It's Drake's again.
Then Firestone.
Firestone's on there for sure.
Well, Faction. The only reason Faction's not in the regular rotation is I can't buy it on the shelf. I mean, like to buy in the 6-pack. Yeah, I'm telling you, Left Hand would go right into that.
That'd be great.
Into that rotation.
Yeah.
So
I'd be drinking that Pilsner and that stout for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Back to the show, Justin. Justin's eyes are rolling back in his head.
All right, we got a few things to do today. Beardy brought us some cider, too, which I think we're going to get to try a little bit later. I don't know if you know that, but Beardy he's like Mr. Cider.
Is it any good?
His other name.
Do we have to drink it?
We'll see. I haven't tasted it yet.
I'm told it's good.
You know more than I do.
Yeah.
Warren's a piece of garbage, by the way. I just wanted to let everybody know that.
All right, why don't we do Homebrewer of the Week? That's what we're doing right now. Our good friends over at Logic.
It's time for your close-up.
Now, the BN Homebrewer Spotlight, brought to you by Logic.
Yes, indeed. Our friends at Logic Inc. are back, and that is thanks to your support of them and their fantabulous cleaners. So make sure you go continue checking them out at EcologicCleansers.com and use the non-toxic, biodegradable, non-corrosive, best cleaning products on the market, god darn it.
Yeah.
Gosh dang it.
That's who. All right, we've got Josh is our Homebrewer Spotlight today. Josh, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. It's great to be on the show.
Thanks for being on, man.
Really, it's my pleasure.
I'm glad you're on.
For years.
I'm glad that you. Oh, you have. Thank you for listening. I'm glad this is a radio show because I see your picture in your profile.
Oh, that's very nice.
I think it just means you're too handsome to focus on.
Well, he does look like a handsomer JP.
What? Where?
Is that possible?
Look, he looks like a handsome.
There's a backhanded compliment.
If you ever heard one.
You ever seen the cover for that movie, The Hills Have Eyes? He looks like that guy.
Hellraiser?
I've seen him. You spoke at Philadelphia, right?
I did, yeah. I was
said
very
hi.
lucky to be able to present there.
Yeah.
Actually, Josh didn't even nominate himself. A listener named Michael Patton nominated Josh, so thanks, Michael.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
He's Josh Weichert. Where are you from, Josh?
I live right outside of Philadelphia, PA.
Okay. And you're the president of a homebrew club out there.
I am, the Stony Creek Homebrewers. We're a small club out in the suburbs, and a small but very successful club. We've had a lot of good beer over the years.
How small is small?
25 or 30 members, give or take.
Just my wife and I.
She nominated me president last year.
Yeah. It sounds real small, but the good news is after every meeting we all have sex. So it's fun.
Yeah. Join our club, have sex.
That's like swingers, not brewers.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I'm not sorry.
25's not bad, actually. 25. Especially, would you say 25 active members in your club?
Yeah, probably pretty much all of our members are active. We have a few that kind of drift in and out, but for the most part, the more people brew, the more they're going to be involved in a club, and most of our guys brew and gals brew at least once or twice a month.
Yeah.
We're very lucky in that.
This is like Drew Beecham's better-spoken cousin.
Yeah? You think he sounds like Drew?
I think he sounds exactly like Drew.
He does sound like him.
It's his better-spoken cousin.
You should write a book.
How much better?
Yeah. Called Really Everything You Need to Know About Cider.
No, really.
But could never understand.
You're also a BJCP master judge, and I'm not. Wow. I don't want to gloss over that because that's actually kind of a big deal.
Okay, if you say so.
It is. Tell me how one becomes a master judge so that our listeners understand what I'm saying.
Honestly, it was mostly beginner's luck. I took my first exam, and I had a 92 on the written the first time out, and my tasting score was mediocre at best. But
okay.
But I honestly, I had just been elected the president of our club, and I thought, well, I should at least be a judge. So I took the exam just trying to get, just any kind of passing score because I had heard some real horror stories. But they just asked me the right questions, and it turned out pretty well. So I just got my tasting score up, and there it is.
I thought you have to also then kind of judge quite a bit to get the points.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience that goes into that too. But luckily in this area we have, must be a dozen large competitions a year that need lots of judging. So you rack up points pretty quick in this area.
But that's kind of what I mean. Like, even if you score well in the test, they don't then just hand you a master judge certificate. You have to rack up the judging experience.
Yeah, that was a journey of several years of a lot of active judging.
Yeah. So. And that's important stuff, and I think it's a big deal because, for one, it does show that you have the experience, but honestly, I think it's a big deal because it's you contributing back to the community. I mean, we really need judges everywhere.
Yeah, and all the sort of longer term, more experienced judges I know are that's how we talk about it. We're happy to do it. And I'm a big believer in getting people to enter competitions. It's the best way to ensure that you're not either beating yourself up too much over really minor flaws or praising yourself too much for beer that could use some help.
Right.
It's a good objective feedback.
Yeah, what I do is I just beat Nathan Smith in a Brewing Network beer competition, and I feel like it validates. I feel like it validates me.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever keeps you going in the morning.
Something has to.
That's right. And you're also the reigning Eastern Pennsylvania Homebrewer of the Year.
I am, yeah.
What does that entail? How do you get to be that?
We started this a few years back to try to encourage people to enter sort of more competitions, not just their own club's competition. So we basically picked sort of the 4 larger competitions in the region, and these are competitions with somewhere between 400 and up over 1,000 entries each. 4 competitions, and essentially whoever accrues sort of the most points during the course of those 4 competitions, and you get points by placing beers. We take your top 4 finishing beers, and whoever ends the year with the most points gets a really, really handsome cup that looks way more impressive than what it actually represents. But it's completely it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of beer to do that.
Yeah, a lot of competitions, a lot of points. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Have you won consecutive years, or you're just?
I did. I won in back-to-back years, and we've only been doing this for 5 years. But I was the first person to ever do that. Got some good competition this year, though. I was very happy to see that. After we're through 1 leg out of 4, and I'm in second place right now. But in previous years, where we only had 2 or 3 guys really competing for it, now we have I think 8 or 9 within like 3 points of the lead. So it's great.
That makes it fun.
Absolutely.
Talk to us when you've won 3 in a row. Then it's a dynasty.
That's right. Oh, we're a dynasty, right?
That's right.
Nice.
How when you self-evaluate your beers and then you enter them to competitions, do you ever get upset with what lesser judges have to say about your beer?
That's a good question.
Usually, no.
They would be lesser.
Recognize that judging beer is partly subjective, and it's more art than science in a lot of cases. And any given bottle could have a bad day or a really good day. I figure that if you submit 10 beers that are sort of good quality beers, then somewhere around half will do well in competition, and the other half, maybe it wasn't their day. And sometimes you just get beat out by a really good flight, and that's part of it too. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hell, that's what we want.
But there has been a time where you kind of, like, you knew the beer and you got your score sheet back and you went, oh, fuck that. Get out of here. Right? Come on.
Yeah, like when I had a robust porter that was too dark when the sun got
yeah. It's always the dark beers, man. It's always someone always thinks they know more than they do.
It's too dark.
If I were you, I would lower the amount of roasted barley in this recipe. There's no roasted barley in it.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Holding it to a Klieg light, I guess, and just saying, no, I can see through that bastard.
I'm that judge, I think, because I'm like, well, I got to figure out something to say. I don't know shit about this beer. I think it's too dark.
What a lot of judges don't realize is you're not looking for flaws.
Right.
You're just comparing it to the style, and a lot of judges don't do. They don't understand that. They go, well, I'm going to pick this fucker apart.
Okay.
They're going fault hunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense when you
so
put
you're
it that
always
way,
going to find
JP.
something like that. You're always going to find a fault with it.
Yeah, but that's not what you're there to do. Okay.
Right.
That makes sense. All right. What's your day job? What do you do when you're not brewing?
Oh, I do.
I'm a political science professor, so I've got all kinds of time. Hence, all the beer I get to brew and enter in competitions.
It's like a college professor.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have to publish as a professor?
You don't have to,
Okay.
but the research is part of the fun of it, really. I love teaching too. Don't get me wrong, but I do enjoy doing research and do more presenting than publishing. Publishing gets very sort of political, and you have to write the right kinds of articles to get somebody's attention. But presentations, you just give them sort of a 200-word summary of what you want to say, and they just say, "Yeah, that sounds interesting."
Nice.
Which universities?
Villanova University primarily, and also down at Westchester University near us.
Oh. Villanova. My boys have had to play Villanova every now and then. Yeah, you guys did have a rough weekend. That's too bad.
I can't contribute to that portion of the conversation.
I can't contribute much. To be honest, I haven't been able to follow too much this time, but I know that Villanova is always a tough one.
I thought he was making that up.
Except for now.
You ever make like a homebrewing analogy to your class, as it pertains to poli-sci?
Frequently, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of one?
Sure. When we talk about interest groups, I get to bring up trade groups like the American Homebrewers Association and the Brewers Association, and how these are really, groups that are looking to influence government on behalf of their membership. And I just use those as convenient examples.
Oh, that's perfect. So you're like, hey, remember when you guys got drunk last night? That's not what these trade associations are about. All right.
Sometimes.
What kind of system are you brewing on? And how long you been doing it?
I've been doing it for 7 years. My brother-in-law, Stan, clued me in on this, and I don't know why he was keeping it a secret, but apparently he'd been brewing for a decade, and I had no idea.
Wow.
And that just blew my mind, and that sort of coincided with one beer that I really loved that was no longer going to be available in the States, and I thought, hey, maybe I can brew this for myself. And so that's how I got started. And I started, like a lot of people, just with, extract on the stovetop, but eventually I converted to an induction-based system, which is what I talked about at the conference. And I never looked back. I think it's the absolute perfect way to boil anything, much less
what is
beer.
it? What is an induction-based system?
An induction element works essentially by creating intersecting magnetic waves. And what they do is they interact with the metal in the pot, in the kettle itself, and it heats up the pot because it creates friction in the steel at the molecular level. And it's literally the pot that's getting hot, not the burner.
Wow.
It's pretty wild. It seems like magic the first time you see it.
Yeah.
It seems like you couldn't possibly boil anything. But the great part about it is at the 5-gallon volume, an 1,800-watt element, which just plugs into a normal wall outlet, is enough to boil 5 gallons of wort, but only just to a boil. So when I'm coming up to boil, I've literally never had a boil over on this system. I can start it and just walk away because there's no risk of boil over. There's no open flames. There's no hot elements. There's really nothing.
I like that.
So in addition to being a fairly quick way to boil anything, it buys you more time because you don't have to sit there and babysit it.
That's kind of awesome, actually.
So is this like a microwave, basically?
Folks who want to read more about it, just published an article in BYO this month on that very topic. And while I'm on, let me thank Betsy and the guys over at BYO that let me do that.
See, I think he's just making a bunch of shit up.
You don't think it's possible?
But no, Villanova, that's not fucking real. Induction? No, come on, get out of here. This guy's a sham.
That's from
He's
Harry
a
Potter.
Snake oil salesman.
Actually.
You realize Villanova is like a really good school, right?
No, that's what Beardy just said. It's one of the houses in
Harry Potter.
In Harry Potter.
It's pronounced Villanova.
Right.
Only in Southern California is it pronounced Villanova. Now, so Tasty asked a good question. Is this essentially a microwave? It's different than that, right?
Yeah, no, it looks just like a normal, like a hot plate. And I wish I knew. I wish I was more of a scientist. That's not really my area to explain sort of the difference between that and between inducing an electric current and the heat that produces versus microwaves and everything else. But they're fantastic. They're cheap to operate. They're dead quiet.
And you buy it, or did you build it, or you can just buy this thing?
You can buy these. Restaurants use these all the time as sort of supplemental burners, so we can find them at sort of the full power output for a standard wall outlet, which is 1,800 watts, and that's enough to boil 5 gallons. And I've sort of talked people through 3,000 watt systems to boil larger volumes.
Wow.
And I've never done it myself, but I've heard them say that they can boil 7-8 gallons worth of wort up to 11 to 12 gallons worth of wort.
What do you do for?
Take a bigger.
What do you do for mashing? Do you use the same thing to heat your hot liquor?
I do. I use a Coleman cooler for a mash tun, but I've seen folks do brew in a bag with this. Some of the more advanced elements that you can can dial in the wattage pretty specifically to sort of match a certain heat level, and you can sort of mash right there in the vessel. But I've always liked being able to just dump a bunch of water in a cooler and leave it alone for an hour.
I guess I ask about mashing too, though, is because it sounds like there's no hot spot on the bottom if you're heating the whole thing.
Yeah, no scorching. You do have sort of a center locus of heat, but it doesn't. It's not nearly as intense as you get from like a propane burner.
Got it. Okay. And you're only doing 5 gallons at a time yourself.
I do, yeah. Actually, I do a hair under 5 gallons because I have a 5-gallon pot, and I fill that. That's, again, the real nice thing about induction. I can fill that thing, I'm not kidding, that son of a bitch, to half an inch below the lip, and it will not boil over at all.
Wow. Yeah, mine's so I have the tall, thin kettles.
Yep.
And I do the same thing. I want my volume way up there, so I'm going up there, but it's a dance. It's like a little ballet that I have to do to keep it from blowing. And that ballet includes me blowing on things and squirting water and turning a little dial. It's a whole mess.
And boiling over.
Seems unnecessary.
and boiling over, yeah. Yeah.
Are there any disadvantages to the induction?
Not many. It does limit you a little bit in terms of pot geometry. You want sort of the tall and thin, the soup can rather than the tuna can, because it does tend to focus the heat kind of towards the middle. And if you're losing too much to the outside, you can have trouble maintaining a boil. The other disadvantage, if you want to call it that, is that a lot of people get this to be able to brew inside, and you might have a little bit of a steam condensation issue. Although I've never run into that personally, because the evaporation rate is so low, because it's not a super intense boil.
Yeah.
And you may need to get some new equipment, because pots need to be they need to be ferroreactive. They need to be essentially react to magnetic waves. So you need a certain amount of a certain type of steel. But like I said, most pots. My pot is I can't remember the store brand at Target, but whatever that is, it's just a 5-gallon pot from Target that I spent $40 on.
Okay.
Essentially, just take your kettle, whatever you're brewing on, slap a magnet to the bottom of it. If it holds, then it'll be fine.
I like to hear our homebrewer of the week, who apparently is a badass. He's the homebrewer of the year in Pennsylvania. He's the president of his club, and he's like, "Yeah, I just got my kettle at Target, dude. Just fucking brew in a kettle. It doesn't matter.
5 gallons.
Just brew in a kettle. It's fine."
When people ask me about brewing, I tell them, make sure you're. First of all, don't overcomplicate this. I mean, I know we all like to be geeky with it,
sure,
but at the same time, I can't tell you how many brewers I know who assume that I have this sort of elaborate laboratory at my house, that I'm just all this specialized equipment. It's not that tough.
Yeah.
Do the big stuff right, and if you want to spend time on the little stuff, then that's fine too. But I've seen people, spend 10 minutes telling me about the, custom and proprietary blend of brewing salts they add to their water, and then I watch them, stir their chilled, beer with a rusty spoon.
Right.
Do the simple stuff right, and the rest will kind of take care of itself.
Yeah, I was in my garage yesterday, checking on my Schwarzbier, and I'm looking. I have the More Beer Ultimate Conical, like 12-gallon. I got my 1550 sitting outside. I have all this stuff, and I kind of looked at myself and I was like, "You're a fucking douchebag." Like you haven't brewed on this before this time since last July. And I was like, "You're a douchebag. You have this wonderful brewing equipment, and this is the first time you brewed since July."
And the one you brewed in July wasn't very good.
I mean, in my defense, I did brew two. Once in June, one in June and one in July. I think back to back ish. One of them was decent.
Oh, the Get a JOB?
That was good.
Oh, you're right.
And then it's been sitting there, and then I just brewed the Schwarzbier on it, and I'm just saying, I'm sort of agreeing that anybody can brew on anything. And here is me that has all of the magical things you could want to brew on, and it doesn't.
You're
matter.
like the guy in the lifted trucks with the mud tires who never goes off road.
Who never goes off road, and that it doesn't. Now, I love my stuff. Don't get me wrong. I like being able to dial in my conical, the temperature wise, and I think More Beer does a great job. I just more felt like if my stuff were in Josh's garage, he would be homebrewer of the universe, is what I feel like, not just homebrewer of Pennsylvania. That's what I feel like. So I felt like a douchebag for 5 minutes, and then I was like, "Yeah, I am. That's my shit.
Yeah, I can use it or not use it. I don't care.
I don't even give a care.
It's America. I'll do what I want."
Did you enter beers into the national competition this year, Josh?
This year, yeah. Like everyone else, I entered a whopping 4.
4? And you got selected for all 4, so that's good.
Well, I was going for 6.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
That's right. I'll take my 4 and be happy.
What do you think about it? Do you feel like it levels the playing field for something like Ninkasi?
It does. Some people might say it levels it a little too much. Although, again, we didn't have that issue last year when actually one of our local guys, when Dave Barber won, he had had a clear win with 2 goals in the second round there. So
yeah,
and it certainly can be done that you can have an outright winner. I just wonder if it doesn't, create this sort of a sense of false scarcity, and I think that's actually driving people to enter, as much beer as they possibly can because they're afraid they'll never get to do it again.
I see. Yeah.
And I think there are other methods we might investigate. But again, the AHA does a great job handling that, and everybody knows how to fix it.
Sure.
Until they actually have to do it, and then
That's
all of a sudden
absolutely
it's
right.
a lot harder.
I would also like to think, to kind of address the worry about scarcity. It's got to plateau at some point, doesn't it? Like, we can't keep seeing 100% growth year after year after year, can we? Like, eventually it's going to have to table off a little bit.
It's a lot of IPAs.
Well, yeah, eventually we'll just hit whatever the Earth's population is. And, whatever that doubling rate is will become our new number. But, yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that next year it'll be about where we're at now. I don't mean because people aren't still getting interested in homebrewing. I just think there really has been an enormous growth over the last 3 years, and that now I do think it's got to settle down a little bit.
It'll probably be like poker, where the World Series just surged and surged, and then it kind of leveled off in like 2007, and then it kind of went down a little bit.
Yeah. I think next year is going to be similar. So I guess I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't have to happen, that we have to do even less entries again.
Sure.
Is my hope. But that's neither here nor there. Josh, I want to thank you for being our Logic Homebrewer of the Week. And
my pleasure, Jay, really.
No, it's fun to talk to you, too, man. A whole different type of brewing. And are you going to go to the conference this year?
Yeah, planning on it. Wife and I are heading out.
All right. We're just planning our...
AKA his homebrew club.
Exactly.
I want to go to their booth.
Me and the old VP.
Yeah, we're having a fundraiser actually to get us out there.
Me, the VP, and the treasurer all headed out to NHC this year.
Also, voting is open for treasurer.
Yeah, I have 2 kids. They're both running for treasurer this year. All right. Well, we hope to see you out there, Josh, and thanks for being our homebrewer of the week. It's fun to talk to you, man.
Hey, thank you.
All right. Cheers.
Take care, man.
There you go. That's our Logic Homebrewer of the Week.
Yes, indeed. Thanks again to Logic. And one more time, guys, EcologicCleansers.com. Go check out their One Step and their Straight A. Nothing else is as easy to use, and they are great.
All right, we're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we got a little bit of beer news for you, and we're going to try Beardy's Cider.
Whoa. Which
is usually good, so we'll see. I'll be the judge of that. Hang in there. It's The Session.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
What'd you get? More brewing ingredients?
Yep. You know what I love about Brewmaster's Warehouse?
The $6.99 shipping?
Well, yeah, but...
the in-store classes for beginning brewers.
Yeah, that's cool, but...
the Brew Builder. Creating and saving your recipes online is awesome!
No, yes, but...
The cheese-making supplies.
No.
Oh, the wine-making supplies. Oh, the distilling equipment and liquor flavorings.
All that stuff is awesome, yes, but what I really love is that the guy who runs it is totally hot. And that Brew Builder software is awesome.
Oh, yeah. Brewmaster's Warehouse brings you flat rate shipping on great equipment and ingredients to make beer, wine, cheese, and spirits at brewmasterswarehouse.com. And if you're in Georgia, stop by Brewmaster's Warehouse Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Visit brewmasterswarehouse.com today because it's totally hot.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a bite for beer lovers. Soft caramel made with real craft brew and coated in chocolate. And Hop Drops, hard candies made with real hop oil. Introducing Beer Candy from beercandy.com. Beer Candy's amazing caramels come in 4 mouth-watering flavors. IPA, bitter gold, wrapped in smooth white chocolate. Lager, made with a familiar beer from Boston and coated in milk chocolate. Lambic, soury Belgian goodness full of fresh raspberry and dipped in dark chocolate. And Stout, roasty cocoa chocolate insanity. Hop Drops are made with Fuggles or Cascade hops and are known as the candy that bites you back. Choose from sampler and full sizes of both and make your mouth jump to life. All at beercandy.com. Hop Drops and beer caramels satisfy your sweet tooth as only a beer lover could with Beer Candy. Visit beercandy.com today.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for any beer style. I want a Cicerone. The Cicerone certification program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious, Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry, and to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just one day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com. Coupon code BNARMY. I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
Wait till you can pour it out of your own kegerator.
Yeah. I mean, your friends will look at you with awe.
And it's just hot.
It is?
It's so super hot.
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com.
Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
You're listening to The Session.
You're listening to the Brewing Network. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
Yeah! Welcome back to the program. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks to our homebrewer of the week, Josh. Here's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like he needs to be a guest.
I was going to say, I feel like we should find a topic for Josh and just get him on the show.
Josh Beecham.
Josh, our good friend, cousin, distant cousin of Drew, Josh Beecham.
Drew Beecham's cousin's uncle,
So
Josh.
JP had said on the air, he's like, oh, he sounds like Drew. And I got a text at the break from Doc, who was listening. He's like, that dude sounds like Drew. So
he really does.
Nah, I didn't hear it till you pointed out. Now that I think about it, I guess he does. But we should get him on to how they can talk about more than just induction brewing.
Yeah,
definitely. Hey, find us at NHC in Grand Rapids, and we'll have a pint.
There you go. All right, what do we got to do? I think we got to do a little feedback, right?
Yes.
Feedback. We got a little beer news. We got Beardy cider. Beardy, give us some cider. Stop dicking around. What the hell you think you got invited here for?
Dicking around.
Good answer.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
That's pretty much. All right, let's do some feedback.
Oh my God!
You've got mail.
Kick ass.
All right, feedback's brought to you today by B. Crosby Hops. That's right. You can go to bcrosbyhops.com. You'll remember them from the last couple years. In fact, Blake came on the show last year to talk to us about growing hops. Go buy your hop rhizomes at bcrosbyhops.com. It is a farm where they actually grow the hops and sell the hops. So you're buying your rhizomes directly from the farm when you go to bcrosbyhops.com. I'm looking at their homepage right now. It's very easy to find when you go to bcrosbyhops.com. You just click on hop rhizomes. I'm seeing Chinook on there, Columbus, Northern Brewer, Cascade, Centennial, Galena, Magnum, Mount Hood, which was one of the hops in that wonderful Pilsner that we loved tonight from Left Hand, Nugget, Willamette. So I don't know if you know this, but it's kind of hard to get hops right now. So buy your rhizomes from B. Crosby Hop Farm at bcrosbyhops.com and support them. They've been doing their rhizomes on the show now. This will be their 3rd or 4th year, and I really appreciate their support. They're a small family farm. Blake's a really good dude, so go help him out and buy some rhizomes.
Yeah, he is a good dude. He will be on the session on April 21, so don't miss that.
Oh, good. What are we talking? You know?
Hops, I think. Yeah.
More. Well, not just growing though. I think we were talking new varieties and things.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I really like Blake. They're a nice family out there. So go check them out. bcrosbyhops.com. Good people.
That'll be the same day as the Schwartz beer reveal, and I'm sure Blake can tell us how you messed up your hop usage.
He's probably going to say that I should have used Mount Hood when I couldn't find Hallertau.
I'm sure.
And after, the first thing I thought, I was trying not to sidetrack us too much.
Right.
I had to talk about my lager a little bit because I thought it was fitting. But as soon as I tasted it and he said Mount Hood, that was one of my options when I couldn't find Hallertau. And after tasting his, shit. Maybe I should have gone with the Mount Hood option. I think it fit really well in the Pilsner, right, Tasty?
It should be quite nice.
It was one that Jamil had recommended too, and
you'll be fine.
I'm texting Jamil. I'm like, hey, there's no Hallertau. Should I try this or that? Mount Hood was definitely one he said would be a good replacement.
Isn't that the domestic version of Hallertau?
I don't know. I always find those descriptions rather misleading, but yeah,
I think it has German lineage.
That's one description I think that's used. So anyway. bcrosbyhops.com. All right, let's do some feedback. Rolo writes in, hey, Session, I was listening to the show last week, and the feedback on what to expect when in Australia. Being a Kiwi that moved here to Australia 4 years ago, I thought I'd give you a heads up on one of the most confusing things about Australia.
All right.
Ready, Tasty?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The beer glass sizes.
All right.
Here we go.
Yeah, note this.
Yeah, it does seem pretty... This actually seems really important.
It's a mindfuck.
I read through this. It's something that involves an unnecessary number of variations and something that differs across all the states. So below here is what I've managed to make of it. The range of glasses include a pony, a glass, a middy, a pot, a schooner, and a pint. And there are more, but these are the common ones. So here's what he's found. A 5-ounce glass is referred to as a pony Australia-wide, except in Canberra, which is where we're going, and Adelaide, where they don't seem to offer it at all. A 7-ounce glass in Melbourne and Perth is referred to as a glass. So if you say, give me a glass of beer, you're going to get 7 ounces. Right. In Darwin, it's referred to as a 7, and in Adelaide, it is a butcher. A 10-ounce glass in Sydney and Perth is a middy. In Brisbane and Melbourne, it's referred to as a pot, and in Adelaide, it's a schooner. A 15-ounce glass across Australia is referred to as a schooner, except Adelaide, where it's a pint. A pint is 20 ounces of beer across the whole country.
Oh.
Apparently, except in Adelaide.
Can I get a half pint?
So as you can see, he says it's bloody confusing. I suggest you walk in and just ask for a beer, and the bartender will most likely point at glasses to help you select the size that you want. Or they will just choose for you.
So everything's in ounces there? Is that in centiliter? Is that what are they? They're not in metric in Australia.
Well, according to him, he
didn't mention anything about.
No, they are metric. The last advice that we got was that we need to learn our metric.
So
maybe he just
ounces for
just translated because he considers that we're idiots.
Well, I'm just going to say, give me
if you want
33 centiliters of this beer.
It sounds like if you want a 7-ounce glass, about a half pint, Tasty, right?
Yeah,
in Melbourne and Perth, you need to ask for a glass, but in Darwin, you need to ask for a 7, or in Adelaide, you need to ask for a butcher. To answer your question, Tasty.
You think there'd be a little more evolved over in Darwin.
If you want an actual butcher, what do you ask for?
Can I bring my own glass?
What I'm going to do is say,
yes,
Peter.
Susie.
Okay.
She can't. No, I answered the question. Go ahead.
I'm just going to turn over to Peter Simons, who's going to be hanging with me.
Yeah.
Like, what am I ordering here?
Please, exactly.
Order for me, please.
It's very difficult. I'm just going to go in and ask for a beer and see what I get.
Yeah, that's what they do on TV shows.
They just ask for a beer.
I'll take a beer. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Rolo, for the good advice and confusing advice.
Yeah, we'll appreciate the advice. Any more you can give us, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
We already forgot it, though.
All right, Brandon writes in, I'm not sure where JP got his info for the last game of Find the Fake, but there is no Texas alcohol statute that prohibits taking more than 3 steps while standing. Out of 170,000 words written in the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Code, the word standing only appears twice, and it refers to good standing both times. In fact, the city, Fort Worth, where I live, in that city, it is legal to drink beer on public streets as long as it's in a plastic cup. I think JP owes Gay Kyle a Blumpkin.
While I might owe him a Blumpkin for other things, I did say that, these are all found on the internet, and I cannot be held responsible for the truth lying therein. Yeah, what's the fine print?
Which is sort of a ridiculous disclaimer because it
like
kind
of
means you could have written anything.
Yeah, but I didn't. I found it online.
It could all be fake,
and it could have been old that they've redone. But I did very clearly state that.
Okay,
so Kyle, you'll get your Blumpkin, but not for this.
He says, on a separate note, I think the show's twice as good when Justin's brewing. It brings up all kinds of useful homebrewing topics. The Brewcaster Challenge is fucking awesome, from Brandon. So, all right, Brandon. Well, I'm trying to keep it up. I will say this. You know what? You know what makes you want to brew? Brewing. And I had this last time when I brewed for the Brewcaster Challenge last time. Like a week later, I was like, or 2 weeks later, as soon as it came out of my fermenter, I was like, I got to brew again. It kind of really makes you want to brew. And I'm in the same boat right now, waiting for that Schwarzbier, that lager to get out of my conical. I kind of would have brewed yesterday if I had an open fermenter. It does make me want to brew more.
Brewing with Beardy on Sunday made me realize I really don't like brewing.
You had the opposite.
I had the opposite. I don't like it because you're waiting around all the cleaning and all the bullshit, and then it's like I'm glad I don't have to keg this.
Yeah,
I had beer in my kegerator or my conical for 2.5 months.
At ambient temperature.
At ambient temperature, it was great. It tastes fine, whatever. But I'm the more and more I realize I hate brewing, the more and more I'm looking forward to that Pico brew system.
Yeah, you sound like a perfect candidate for it.
I really feel like.
Can I come fill up your fermenter?
Yes.
You sound like the founders. Is it home brewing? It's just all cleaning. And it sucks as a hobby.
Yeah, you sit around in the garage, listen to your neighbors rev their motorcycles, and play beer pong. It's terrible.
I like it just as much, if not more, than when I first started. Once I get out there and do it, I just absolutely love it. I had a really good time, and then even kind of taking care of it afterward. Lest anybody be confused, that has not been lost on me. I still really love the hobby.
Well, that's good. Let me know when you've done it more than 10 times.
I've officially done it more than 10. I think I've done it 11 and a half times.
Official.
11 and a half times.
It does feed on itself, doesn't it?
Absolutely
does. And the hardest thing to do is to kind of initiate, because once you got the flame going and you're kind of, then it's just game on, right? But the hardest thing is transitioning from watching reruns of sitcoms like Boy Meets World
right.
to brewing.
My other favorite pastime.
Once you get up and do it.
That's why it's a good idea to get everything sort of ready, and plan a week ahead of time even.
Yeah.
To get everything there so that when you do go pull the trigger to brew beer, it's easy. I mean, everything's there. Ready. It's not, it's not going to be a hassle. That kind of thing.
I was much closer to finally doing that this time. Every time I brew Tasty, I get a little bit closer to being fully prepped.
Still had to go to more beer during the mash rest, probably.
Yes,
right?
I still had to do that when I decided to go ahead and change the hops. I also, I was having a little trouble getting my hot liquor burner working, but that was a long excursion because it sat outside since last June. I had to.
Well, there is something to say for keeping your system.
I need to buy a cover. They don't make covers. I need to buy a cover somehow. Get a custom cover. Because mine sits out in the rain. Like I don't have a place to put my whole thing. It's not even under a roof.
Yeah,
like I don't have a patio.
Garage? You need a cover.
No, there's no room in the garage.
Oh.
Yeah. So
you could saran wrap the burners. I assume that's what most of the problem is. The burner, that area getting messed up.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I forget.
Just throw a tarp over it and bungee it, dude. You're fine.
Yeah. Most big blue tarps. Yeah, but there you go.
It's not very sexy though. I needed to have my picture on it.
Is that sexy?
That's sexy.
You're all about sexy, so you should.
Just to be a whole custom.
When I think sexy, I think your face.
I think your sexiness.
You too?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, Taryn doesn't like to hear it, but
you're like, here, could you put this mask on?
See yourself standing out in the backyard, be like, you know what I want to do today? I want to brew.
Yeah.
You think you're going to?
I get it.
You think you're going to follow Annie's advice on your next brew day and not drink?
No. I mean, I did I told you I did as close as possible this time.
Oh, you did?
Where I didn't drink until almost the end of the boil, actually. Maybe mid-boil. But I know I joke a lot about it, but fuck that. It is my hobby, and I feel like if I'm going to drink a beer and relax out in my backyard, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not into brewing for that.
Yeah, you're not trying to win Home Brewer of the Year.
No, not yet.
Wait till you get burnt. Once you get burnt, you'll change your whole philosophy.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I was going to say I don't drink that much, but that's not true.
No,
you drink enough.
I have a high tolerance, so I'm not burning myself.
I don't get drunk.
You should. It's always about squirting boiling wort on yourself.
Yeah,
and that burns fast.
I don't know. I've been injured plenty. That's for sure. I've set the goddamn thing on fire, but
you haven't hurt yourself yet.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fine. I had other things going on. It was fine to not drink for the amount of time that I did, and I felt the competition bug. I really want to beat Nate
on your A game.
So, but overall, if I'm going to spend the day brewing, I'm going to have a few beers. It's a nice thing to do for me. I like it.
You guys find it amazing that Justin's hair hasn't gone up like a Roman candle on a brew day?
I do. It is kind of amazing. But look at Beardy. What are you laughing at, Beardy?
No, that's more amazing.
Oh, my hair has gone up like a Roman candle on a brew day.
There you go.
Yeah. Right.
That beard would be like crazy.
Yeah. All right, a few more things here. All right, John writes in, I'm trying to get my friends to download your iPhone app and listen to the shows, but we can't find it in the App Store. What happened? That's from John. So they upgraded our iPhone app, which means it got removed from the store and then resubmitted as an upgrade. I just got word today that our Android app, that one should now be there. That one finally got approved after the same process. The iOS app may take another couple days. I don't know. But it'll be the same thing. You just search BN Mobile. It's still free, but our company upgraded the whole deal and removed the old one to put up the new one. So hang in there. It'll be back. Good question. Seth from the Endless Winter of Chicago writes in, hey, all, I've been catching up on the Session podcast from 2012 and 13. And here's some notes. One, you guys really do have great content and excellent guests.
I like how affirming he is. You really do.
Yeah, thank you.
No matter what anyone says.
Right. Plus, you're all hilarious in your own unique, semi-retarded, full pervert ways. Right. Your show is the best when I don't know anything about or start with any interest in a guest, but wind up depressed and wanting more when the podcast ends. You know, I find that too when we don't know the guest too.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, people will complain right off the bat. Oh, why are you having that person? Or
who's that guy?
And they complain without ever hearing it. Yeah. And they often are our best shows. They're the most unique people that aren't getting talked about in the news all the time, the beer news all the time. So anyway, I'm just agreeing. People should not poo-poo. Don't judge a book. Give me an old saying from the 20s, Moscow.
Never take a cantaloupe for full price.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Thank you. All right, number two, he says, I would like to nominate Dave Marlave from Flat Tail as both the biggest asshole in a good kind of way, he says.
Real jerk,
in a good kind of way. As the best guest you've ever had.
Oh, wow.
I wish I lived in the Pacific Northwest so I could drink his beer and kick him in the shins for being a prick. Again, in a good kind of way.
I sent that to him and he goes, I'll take it.
That sounds good.
Very, very good description.
Number 3, JP is America's Carl Pilkington. So I had to look up Carl to remember, and of course, once I looked him up, I remembered who it is. And An Idiot Abroad.
Oh yeah, okay. That Carl. Yeah.
And he used to produce the Ricky Gervais show.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, JP, but I tend to agree with this comment.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
You're like, I'm out and I have the whole world at my fingertips, and it sucks.
I don't understand. All I want are a packet of crisps and a sausage. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I'll stay home. Why would I go out anywhere? I have the whole world on my TV.
You are Carl Pilkington. All right, Mark from Washington State writes in, hey, Justin, I've been listening since the show aired and have been a proud donator, he says, since the time I started listening. I've been working my way from show 1, et cetera, et cetera. So he's not current, so he says he might be a little off topic. But on the April 10th, 2011 show, you guys had a long discussion about the Anheuser-Busch takeover of Goose Island. I would like you to know that almost 3 years later, I've been able to have their beers, and I'm now a huge supporter of this merger. It's allowed Goose Island to reach the vastly underserved market of Eastern Washington. We've been able to get many of their beers, and I've been very pleased with Sophie, Lolita, and Honkers. It's a strong testament to what big beer can do for the craft market, and I'd love to hear how you guys feel about this. And suck it, JP.
I don't think I will.
I hope your neck feels better and allows you to make a name for yourself on the streets again soon.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's nice. So I don't have much to say about this other than the beer's been fine to me. I haven't tasted any difference.
What did Big Beer do to it? I mean, are they further out because of Big Beer, or are they further out because they were growing normally anyway?
Good question. I would say an infusion of money helped.
The growth is accelerated.
Well, certainly you can be more aggressive. You can buy more bigger fermenters and all that capital.
Yeah, you can expand your program. Like their Belgian lines, I've never seen more than 1 or 2, but now there's 5 or 6.
Yeah,
I feel like I heard that they're brewing outside of Chicago now.
They are, yeah.
Oh,
they're brewing in 2 different places.
Yeah, they're brewing in 2 places now.
They also started a sour program.
Yes,
and in fact, so Lolita that he mentioned here in the feedback, I just had for the first time the other night at a friend's house. Scott, you were there.
Yeah, it's fantastic beer, wasn't it?
It was a really great sour
Blew
beer.
my mind.
Sophia's just great. Yeah,
hadn't seen that beer yet, though. Had you seen it before?
Nope.
No, it's really great, wasn't it?
But apparently there's like 4 in the sour brand already, just on the sour
One
side.
with a raspberry, I think. I forget the name of it.
I think that was the Lolita.
Yeah. Oh, it is? Okay.
What is different is I see these beers on the retail shelf.
Yes,
that is they're in there, in the
Safeway.
In Safeway, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
which is amazing.
The sour beers in Safeway.
Yes,
is that right?
Yes,
yeah, because it's the AB's backing.
It's AB shelf space right there.
It's beautiful.
The distributor is allowed to go in and say, "All right, well, how about we remove this and put up some Lolita?"
It's great.
They're good beers.
It's an outstanding sour beer, widely available. That's what we want, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a
I
beautiful thing.
got nothing bad to say about it. I mean, I know people want me to. There are people out there who want to go, oh, it didn't work, but I'm just going to tell it like it is. I've had nothing but good experiences with Goose Island, both before, too, I'll give it that, but, and after the merger.
At some point,
or the buyout or whatever.
At some point in the world, it became a bad thing to be a corporation and to be a large company.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you're the devil and you're evil and you represent nothing but money and money grubbing and whatever.
Profit's a bad word somehow.
It's not always the case.
Well, I do think I agree with you. I also think it's particularly sensitive in craft beer because there have been plenty of examples in the past of big beer trying to hold on to their market share and doing and participating in less than savory business tactics.
But we've also heard craft brewers doing the same exact things
in recent times. I think we've heard that as
even
well.
The last 5 years.
But I'm just saying whether that's true or not, it lends to the defensiveness.
Right.
It makes you go. So I'm agreeing with you that we're already defensive against corporations.
Yeah.
And then on a sub level we're defensive twice against big breweries. So it's kind of a double whammy.
Right. Well, I wonder when people are going to be defensive of or offensive to craft breweries because of the same thing.
It'll happen eventually.
And second of all, don't ever get multi-level on me because that's fucked up.
Don't get meta.
Right. Get proto, please.
But again, I'm saying I've seen nothing bad come out of this yet. So
not at all.
I'm still with the boys. I don't know who they are, but I'm with them.
Achievement for the boys.
All right, a couple more here real quick. Hey, Bruce Slackers. This is from Brad.
That's not nice.
He says, this is more of a basic question, so pay attention, Tasty. I'm feeling a little dirty and dishonest.
It's basic, so pay attention.
No, this one, it's not as basic.
Yeah, I know.
I'm feeling a little dirty and dishonest, he says. I tried to brew an arrogant bastard-ish clone that didn't come out how I've made it in the past. Mash, sparge, and boil all went well, but I was using a chest freezer with a single-stage temp controller, went on vacation, and it got unusually cold, and fermentation pooped out around 1024. I was aiming for 1015. So now it's way too sweet for an arrogant bastard clone, and when I present it to judges, I get the it's too sweet, not enough hop presence comment. When I presented it as an old ale to a few BJCP judges, it's suddenly complex and would score in the low 40s. Is it against a brewer's code to enter it as an old ale when I guess he means in competition, obviously, when I know that wasn't what I was going for and flawed based on what I was trying to accomplish? Or should I just go for it, go for the medals, and try to dethrone the Brewing Network as Club of the Year? Interested in feedback on the Brewers Code from Brad. It's a good question.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the beer tastes like another beer, I would call it that beer. I mean,
yeah.
Now, if he does win, say, a second round medal, they're going to want his recipe. Well, he will present a recipe for Arrogant Bastard, and in his instructions, it will say, ferment for 2 days at 67, and then cold crash it to 50 for the rest of the ferment to make sure that you get a nice high finishing gravity. So it's like a Scotch ale. So
yeah.
That's going to be a problem.
It's okay, so that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Because my reaction instantly was, just enter it as what it tastes like. That's fine. But that's a good point, because it's not replicable without doing that.
Yeah, if he can make it himself, that'd be a trick, actually.
Yeah. He could actually.
Well, I mean, I wonder if that's how the first, XYZ style was made, right? That's how I did it. I tried to make this style, but I put too many hops in, and so if you want to replicate this style, try to make an ESB, but screw up.
And it turned out good. You're right. Maybe I think you're exactly right. I don't think there's anything against the Brewers Code in entering this beer in whatever it tastes like.
Absolutely not.
So you're definitely not being a douchebag by doing that.
Right. Yeah. So what's weird is if he puts in if in his instructions he says it's a normal ferment, it's going to be Arrogant Bastard.
Yeah,
not a Scotch ale.
Right.
I'd be like, what's this?
Oh. Now, do all of the recipes of the second round winners get published? Is that what you're saying?
They go into Zymergy.
The gold medal.
I think only the
gold medals in the subcategories.
First place in every category.
So he has to put an asterisk that says, if you brew this properly, it's Arrogant Bastard. If you crash cool before fermentation is done, you have a gold medal winning old ale.
Excellent old ale.
Nothing against the Brewers Code in what you're doing, Brad.
I don't think so.
I say gun for the Brewing Network Club and try to get yourself a medal, brother.
Hell yeah.
Go for it. All right, and finally, our spam of the week. It starts like this. Go here to remove yourself from updates and safely unsubscribe. Members.milfaholic.com/ and then there's all these other things.
Why would you ever not want to be on Milfaholic?
Milfaholic.
Yeah, agreed.
No, all that stuff pushed to me every day.
Yeah, and would you really trust it to go, unsubscribe safely from this thing you didn't sign up for?
By clicking this long thing.
Yeah.
Nobody ever unsubscribes from Milfaholics. All right. It goes on to say, find a horny MILF near Des Moines.
Yes.
Yes. I would love to.
Hello, JHGKJHGLKH. Your username is JHGKJGHLKH. Your password, guys, you can use my password. You guys can go for it.
Do.
Your password is JKJGH. Go here to log in now. Send your favorite girls a virtual gift and get noticed. Stand out from a crowd of admirers. Pick the perfect gift and we'll deliver it to her inbox.
Yeah, you would.
We've got a wide variety of gifts guaranteed to catch her attention. Below are some matches just waiting for a free gift. And then I don't have pictures, I just have their names and a short quote.
I bet they're hotter than
There were no pictures, by the way.
Sweet Yell 33, and her quote is, "Giggle and lick your lips." Gentle Soul 41.
Yeah,
that's their age. When I do the number, it's not part of their name; it's their age.
How gentle can you be at 41?
She's from Des Moines. Her quote: "Will always be horny."
Never not be horny.
LinkedIn Lou,
poor thing,
who is 30 years old. She's from Slater. Her quote: "Can you handle me?"
No,
probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Really.
Jazzy Milf, who's 35. She's from Clive.
Yeah, she is.
Her quote is
that like a description of her genitals?
Have some fun with me.
Just some.
Paracootie. Is she disabled?
I think she's the Siamese twin.
She's a pair.
Yeah.
I like your description better than mine.
Thank you.
Paracootie, she's 32 years old. She's from Urbandale. Her quote: "Sexy and stacked." All right, let me skip through a couple. There's a lot of them.
But you're a mom. You can't be stacked.
And finally, Kathy M., who's 36. She's from Altoona. Love the life you live. That's her quote. So that's for you optimists.
I think Kathy's a more down to earth. She didn't have a fancy screen name. She's just her.
All right. Feel free to use my login information and go check out members.milfaholic.com.
Yes. Please log in and see what that's all about.
Yeah, take your virus software.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then throw your computer in the dumpster.
All right. We got a little bit of beer news to do. Real quick, what is this cider that you poured us, Beardy?
It's just a common cider. So it's a blend of 5 different apple varieties. And I entered it as the 25A, I think it is, just the common cider.
What do you think about it? Compared to some of your last medal winners?
I think it's there. I think my favorite of this year's group will be the next one, the English cider. Okay. But
Nick,
I'm happy with
that
all
you
of
brought
them.
us here?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do that. This one seems extra sweet to me.
Mm-hmm. They're actually all about the same finishing gravity.
All the same gravity.
Except for the last one, which is a sizer.
But you back sweeten them.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're sterile filtered and then sulfited. And then so I did a polishing filter to kind of get it pretty clear and get most of the yeast out. And then at that point I would do my taste testing with varying levels of back sweetening and tannins and whatever. And then when I got what I wanted, I would blend it all into one keg and then sterile filter the whole batch, blended, and then sulfite the finished keg, and then that's it. That's what I am keeping refrigerated and packaging from.
Okay.
What about the carbonation? It seems a little light. Is that just it's intentional?
Yeah, you can. At least for competition, you have 3 different levels of carbonation. You have to specify either still, petulant, or carbonated, basically sparkling cider. I don't like sparkling cider. I don't like sparkling alcoholic cider. So I just keep the kegs under a couple PSI. Mostly, I do it because of practical, just to keep positive pressure, so oxygen theoretically isn't getting in to oxidize it.
Yeah.
And so it ends up being just slightly carbonated.
Is that petulant?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you find that the judges tend to kind of agree with that? They don't like sparkling as much, or?
No, I mean, because you can choose sparkling, and they have to judge it. I mean, unless they're going to let their personal.
But that's what I'm saying. Do a lot of them have that personal preference like you do?
I don't know. I've always just entered petulant because that's what I like, and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Sure.
They can like it or not. I don't know.
Judges' biases are everywhere.
Yeah,
I don't even care.
So I mean, that's just up to the judge whether or not they want to.
I think out of petulant it lets a lot of apple flavor through. I think like highly carbonated ciders can have that carbonic kind of.
It becomes
bite.
more champagne-like to me.
It does, and I don't like it.
The second example, I think it works better because I think the first example, since it was a little sweeter, maybe I wanted it to have that carbonic, acid kind of bite to balance it, but it does work nicely with the second example.
Yeah, the second I entered as an English cider, different blend of apples, just 3 different types of apples. 2 are the same varieties from the first one, but actually added some tannin to this one. It was a chestnut tannin.
Mm-hmm. I love this one.
Yeah, that's my favorite of the
really
series
nice.
batches.
It is very good.
You might have a winner right here. I hope you do.
So.
You're entered onto the BN, right?
Of course.
Attaboy.
Good man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's really good. Not that the first one was good. It's just sweeter than I like. That's all.
These are both the same specific gravity.
Okay.
So they're both 1008.
Yeast characteristics and the amount of juice that you back sweeten.
That's interesting.
And it's the blend of the apples affect the apparent sweetness.
Okay.
It's the
tannin addition cleans that up too.
Okay.
So like if you taste just straight fermented apple juice, it's thin and watery, and it has this weird funky flavor. It's not very good.
I brought that in on the cider show.
Okay,
I
remember
some of that we tasted.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
and then so you back sweeten it, and then that gets you a certain place as well. But then if you can kind of tweak it out and increase your mouthfeel a little bit, you add some tannins.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, we used ones that were from chestnuts. They're just dried tannins, and you just mix them up and you dose it in, and you figure out your dosing rate. And
it's a liquid?
There you go. It's a powder, but you turn it into a liquid. You rehydrate it.
Okay.
And it just kind of can round out certain flavors, and it's just that kind of next step. They do it in wine all the time, so why not cider?
Yeah. Well, I don't see why not, because it tastes great.
Yeah. Oh, it's night and day difference.
Yeah.
It really is. Just the little tiniest dose can just really brighten it up. It was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think what we ended up doing was about 0.1 ppm of tannin, so it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny amount.
Yeah.
It's good. All right, well, I wish you luck.
Well, thank you.
Tastes good. It's damn good. All right, let's do some beer news. Beer news brought to you today by our good friends over at Austin Homebrew Supply. I like those guys. They've been very good to us. You can go to austinhomebrew.com and check it out. They got a great website. In fact, it looks like a new website since the last time I've been there. You can go check it out. $7.99 flat rate shipping. They're really good at putting together clone recipes. They've got over 800 clone recipes. Okay, so if you're looking for your favorite beer to brew at home, I'd start at austinhomebrew.com because you're probably going to find it. And then they've got like over 400 of their own recipes as well. So go check it out, austinhomebrew.com. Moscow, what's in the beer news today?
Well, everyone in this room is sitting, so that's good. And if you're driving a car now, maybe pull over for this. Okay. If you're standing up, maybe like mowing the lawn, turn the mower off, take a seat. All right, because this is big. Are you guys ready?
I feel like this is the part in the Tom Petty album where we were just transitioning over to CD, and everybody has to stop while the rest of listeners get up and turn over the tape. So let's just take a moment while you pull over your car. Okay, go.
The FDA is proposing new regulations.
Oh, I can't believe it.
That would cause big problems for brewers nationwide. The new rules would mandate that spent grain used for animal feed be dried and prepackaged on site in a manner that does not touch human hands. This would suck threefold. One for the farmers who receive these spent grains from the brewers. They like receiving the grains in a wet state because it provides hydration for the animals. 2 for the animals, as they apparently like hydration. And 3 for the brewers, as it would provide yet another state-mandated set of hoops through which they must jump, which increases costs and etc. Worst of all, there's no evidence that currently conditions are posing any hazard to animals or humans. So the proposed rules will create more regulations to solve a problem that does not exist.
Which, of course, was my first question. Like, so why? What happened? Did somebody die, or did an animal get become cloven hoofed?
Nope.
So basically, they were just bored and decided to make life difficult for everybody else.
The grain ends up in the beef, and the beef ends up on your plate.
And the beef is still good,
delicious.
Yeah,
this really is a problem. If most of our listeners know, so I don't mean to preach to the choir, but disposal of grain waste is expensive. There's a lot of it, especially if you're a successful brewery.
Yes.
And one of the wonderful partnerships that small breweries have with local communities is by being able to dispose of that in a very clean and efficient,
it's green,
and helpful way.
And the farmers really appreciate it too. And sometimes they bring you milk.
That's right.
Or a pig.
Yeah, we got hamburger.
You got hamburger?
At Heretic?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, but it was produced from beef that ate the spent grains from your brewery, man.
Oh, that's why I'm feeling so bad.
Best beef ever.
Well, I guess this law is like about other things that go in, like farmers can get that's probably not in that good a shape as a spent grain. I mean,
it's one of these things that
it's going to be caught up.
It's a broader law,
just like the homebrew law.
Yeah, this is being caught up under that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really? This seemed to be specifically aimed at brewers.
No,
is that not right?
No, it's not.
No,
Who else is it aimed at?
regulating what farmers can feed their cattle with.
Yeah.
Is mainly what the intent of the law is.
Oh.
But
under that blanket.
Yeah, right, under that blanket, it's applying to where the spent grain's coming from.
What a mess. See, these things keep happening where everyone just getting thrown under the bus for something that didn't even apply in the first place. What can people do? Because I know that there's sort of a call to action from both brewers and farmers.
Yeah, so as far as I understand, you can go to regulations.gov, which seems like a farcical URL, doesn't it? But it does exist.
And it's Saturday Night Live skit.
The thing's huge.
There is a long, it's like / and a million things, and I'm not going to give it all out here. But if you just go to regulations.gov, there's a search function, and you can search this, FDA and spent grains, and you'll find it. You can submit your comments, but the deadline is the 31st, so that's just a few days. So get in there and deluge them if you can.
Okay.
And if you're a brewer, if you're a pro brewer, they want your feedback too. They want to hear from farmers about how there's been no negative impact from this, and they want to hear from brewers that it's blow some smoke about how great this program is.
I would also say if you're a consumer, why is it important to you? you're going to end up paying for this.
Oh, yeah. Right.
If
Absolutely.
the brewery has to pay to dispose of the grain, that means you're paying to dispose of the grain.
Or they want you to prepackage it on site, right, for the farmer. Isn't that part of it too?
Dry it without you're going to pay for that.
Right.
I'm going to pay for that. Every time I go buy a 6-pack, if that's the new procedure, I will be paying for that.
Right.
And I don't want to pay for that. I'll be honest with you. I'm not very satisfied with the cost of a 6-pack right now already.
Yep.
So I don't want to pay for this for a law that doesn't matter.
It's part of a greater, there's a law in California now, too, that just got enacted this year that chefs now have to wear rubber gloves in all food preparation across the board.
Yeah.
And so there does seem to be a focus on this problem of, foodborne illness or whatever, but I don't know, where's the problem? Are we experiencing a huge problem with this stuff?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Cross-contamination and antibiotic-resistant foodborne illnesses, and
Yeah, but that's not from bare hands touching food.
I don't know.
I think
everybody knows somebody that gets sick eating out.
But even cross-contamination, I mean, there are I'm no expert, just from working in a restaurant a little bit, there are very strict rules about what's allowed to be stored here and stored there, and of course at what temperature, and all the preparation temperatures. It does seem to me that there are already regulations in place that kind of cover the cross-contamination problem. And
maybe they're not good enough.
Putting gloves on everybody. Maybe they're not, but I'd like to see the evidence that says as such. In other words, I think what Scott, at least I think this is what you're asking is there some outbreak that I haven't heard about? Right. Is there now this rise in cross-contamination that we haven't seen? I'm not sure that there is.
Well, because I think it's hard to prove cross-contamination. It's assumed, like if you get food poisoning, you have no idea where you really got it or how.
They tend to narrow it down, actually. I don't know, but if there's some sort of gnarly outbreak of it, they pinpoint it.
Like a giant outbreak for But
the rest of the time, that's just life. That's life in our society. You're gonna get food poisoning every now and then.
Yeah. Right.
Not that I like it. I'm a fucking germaphobe, but I accept it as part of the deal.
But what if you couldn't? What if you didn't have to accept it because everyone wore gloves, and that would cure the problem?
I've heard people make the argument.
If somebody proved to me that was the deal,
I don't know.
I'm all for it. Then I would have no argument against make them all wear gloves. Absolutely.
Like the gloves thing, I don't give a shit about it. Great.
Yeah. If it solved the problem.
Sure.
But without knowing if it solves the problem.
I'm not a chef. I don't give a shit.
Right.
I know some chefs.
What about so the hop grenade's about to open up?
Yeah.
What if all our bartenders one day had to wear rubber gloves?
Yeah,
I'm not
they're
down
actually
for that.
trying to make a law right now. To make all bartenders and anyone who handles anything wear gloves. Do you know how wasteful that is for them to take off disposable one single-use gloves every single time? It's time-consuming. You're not going to be able to get everyone at the bar. You're not going to be able to grip things properly when you're trying to make drinks, cut things.
I've tried it. Your grip goes away fast.
Can't pick your nose.
Doesn't feel the same.
Terrible.
Well,
it's not the same.
And the gloves aren't going to prevent cross-contamination on its own, because if they're going to do it with their bare hands,
well,
you do it with gloved hands. But they have to remember to. They have to remember to do that.
Subway?
They have to remember to do that.
Do you ever watch chefs on TV?
Versus
they have a
them
rag.
going to the wash.
They're wiping the table and they're wiping
filthy ass
and
rag.
up the edge of the plate.
And we're fine. Even the germaphobe knows we're fine.
Yes.
But we could be better with more gloves.
I can't believe you're on the side of the glove.
Look at him.
I'm saying I don't care.
Progressive in the corner over
It doesn't bother me one way or the other. It doesn't impact me on one way or the other.
Yeah, but that argument where I'm not a chef, therefore I don't care. But there's a million. So what if it's not you? There are a million chefs that it does impact.
Yeah.
And eventually it will come knocking at your door, whatever it is that you do.
Maybe.
Yeah. No more broadcasting without a mask on.
I'll wear a mask.
Would you please?
I do. I like masks. Masks are great.
All right. What else?
Indulge me for 1 second. Let me hereby announce that I would like my sushi chefs to not wear gloves.
Yeah.
And if I get sick, okay.
I'm telling you, there are also very strict hand washing regulations for food preparers.
Yes.
As long as you follow that,
you're fine.
I'm good. I know that not everybody does too. Like I said, that's me going out into the world and living into the world. And even as germaphobe, I'm all right with it.
Try that.
Amen.
I wonder if it's the perception of, if there's a gloved hand, then it's a sanitary hand.
Yes,
but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's sanitary.
Right.
Because they can touch the same things with a gloved hand.
But it's like the TSA.
But it's just they can see it like, their hands are gloved.
Right.
This is why condoms should be outlawed.
It looks better.
It looks better.
The airport security is the same thing where it's like, the illusion of it is there, so I'll rest easy.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the phones real quick. We got Pies from Australia on the line. Pies, what's happening?
Not much. Just hanging out at home.
Pies, you going to come hang out with us in Canberra?
Yes.
Attaboy. How far are you?
Probably.
You're far, aren't you?
No, like 2.5 hours. It's not far.
Oh, then get your big ass out there.
That's not bad.
It's definitely on the cards. I'm in negotiations at the moment.
Okay.
Pies, are you depressed?
No, it's not at all. No,
because you're not.
Why would I be depressed?
Well, I mean, the list is long, but
I think he's sober.
But you're sober because you're not yelling and you're not Pies. You're just Josh.
No. I've had a couple of beers, just doing a bit of quality control around the brew house. I've been busy. I've got 3 kids now, so I've got to sort of run around and surprise a little nap. And I was
at the Fighting Owl Brewery over there, or whatever it is.
That'll do it. All right, Pies, what can we do for you, brother?
I just wanted to say thanks for my prize from the Christmas party. I won the kegging setup. You sent out a bunch of kegging gear, and it's amazing. I tweeted that if anyone follows the Brewing Network, I tweeted the picture of all the stuff that you guys sent. There's like 3 regulators and a couple of taps and shanks and stuff. It's great.
I'm glad you like it. It was a pretty badass little setup that we got donated to us from a listener to give out. And
that was Jesse. Thanks, Jesse.
We were happy to send it to you. I hope you put it to good use and send us some photos then.
I shall. Yes. I'm sure I'll find a place for it. I've got a freezer ready to put a collar on. So this is the first step in getting my freezer going.
Perfect. I'm glad it made it, because I'll be honest, shipping it, we were like, I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff in one box, and I'm like, oh man, we've shipped a bunch of stuff that never made it to its place. This is not the one we want to not make it to its place, because it was a bunch of good stuff.
Yeah, we had a bunch of stuff on the Malaysian Airlines flight.
We're still hoping for the. Is that too?
That's way soon.
Well, if he gets in a boat and sails from Perth, he should get there in a couple hours.
Yeah. Shit. All right, Josh. Pies.
Yeah, no, it's good. Thanks very much.
You're very welcome. Enjoy it. Build yourself a good kegerator and send us some photos. I hope we see you in Oz.
Are you a fan of Dave Matthews?
I'll probably see you guys in Sydney first.
I think we're going straight to Canberra. And then,
are you?
Yeah, I think we're going straight to Canberra and then bouncing around to the other places. It's because it's a whole thing. But I'm planning on going to Sydney and Melbourne, but I think afterward, just because of the way.
Okay.
Great American Beer Festivals all around the same time. It's a whole thing. It's a whole fucking thing.
Right.
All right.
No worries.
Thanks, Pies.
All right. Bye.
Later. All right. What else is in the news?
Fans are suing CenturyLink Arena in Boise, Idaho, saying they were duped into thinking a $7 beer contains more brew than a $4 beer.
I like this lawsuit.
It's I don't know if you saw the video I included in the thing here, but it's the ECHL, the Idaho Steelheads, the team is called, and all the hockey fans that go see those guys up in Idaho, they filed the lawsuit. According to said lawsuit, the arena defrauded customers by charging $3 more for a tall, narrow cup advertised as large that actually holds the same amount of beer as the shorter, wider cup described as small. 4 fans filed the suit last week in Boise's 4th District Court. They're seeking $10,000 in damages. It happened 2 days after a fan named Gwen Gibbs posted a video on YouTube where she pours the large cup of beer into the small one. In both cups, the beer just goes right to the brim.
Yeah.
CenturyLink officials announced a short time later that the company would purchase new cups for the large beers that would hold 24 ounces instead of the previous 20. And at the time, this was a couple weeks ago, Eric Trapp, the president of the Steelheads and the arena, said that they hadn't intended to misle customers.
All right, question for the crew.
I don't care.
It's a professional stadium.
I'm not a stadium owner.
I don't give a shit.
It's a professional stadium.
Yeah.
Profit is everything. Mm-hmm. Beer profit is big. You are paying attention to these numbers.
Every milliliter.
Did they not know that the cup was the same size?
Somebody knew.
They
might not.
Knew, right?
He might not. Executive
They count every
privilege.
milliliter.
He might have been kept in the dark.
Well,
so he could possibly deny it.
If you think about it, when you buy the cups, they're listed in size.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
the capacity is listed.
When you're actually buying the physical case of cups.
It doesn't say small and large.
Right.
It says 20 and 24. Yeah.
Right. So of course they knew about it. And I mean, this thing, they were talking about this at the Oakland A's Stadium, like in 2010.
I was just gonna say this happened a couple years ago here.
It happens a lot. And I think I don't know. I was going to assume what happened. So
but it should be illegal, right?
It absolutely should. And this, I do love this lawsuit. This is a great lawsuit.
It should be absolutely illegal to do that. It's false advertising. It's you're literally robbing people.
Yeah, it's like fraud. And I agree. This is one lawsuit where I'm actually on board. And again, they're not going. They want $500,000 for emotional distress. They're being reasonable. They're like, look, we've gone to a lot of games. We've bought a lot of these beers. You're miseling us. We want $10,000 back. Thank you.
Well, and the $10,000 will probably get. It'll end up being one of those things where everyone can sign up if you were a person who bought a beer between
and everyone
X and
gets
X.
80 cents.
Exactly. So they're not getting $10,000. They're just looking to slap them on the wrist.
Exactly.
But I think this is bullshit. I think it should be illegal. I think they knew exactly what they're doing, and I think it's a seriously fucked up thing to do.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, maybe
totally
I shouldn't be getting so riled up about the cost of a beer, but it's a lie. It's a bold-faced lie.
I mean, it's already more than a 6-pack for a pint of beer at a stadium, any game you go to. So why are you charging more money for the same amount that's already too much?
It shows contempt for your customers.
Absolutely.
I'm going to sound ridiculous right now, but to me, this is
retarded too.
Yeah. It's the same principle as going after a Bernie Madoff. Okay, now did he steal billions of dollars? Was it a different scale? Yes. Was it a different principle? Absolutely not. He sold people something that he knew was fake. It was a lie. And people paid into something that was not what they thought they were paying into. It's exactly the same as that. That guy got 150 years in prison because of the full impact. But the principle of the thing, I'm telling you, I feel like it's exactly the same. It's a group sitting down and going, we could sell a cup that looks larger for $4 more.
It's a different size.
And no one will know the wiser.
So calculated.
Did they sell it as a tall or as a large?
That I feel like it's the same principle.
Because if it's taller glass, they're selling it as a tall.
But they didn't know it was.
No,
it was
large.
like
they said it as a large. Okay. Yeah.
And
How long were they doing
I'm telling you, it's sitting around and calculating a robbery.
I wonder if this is just standard in the stadium drink business. I mean, because it seems
we're
like
just hearing about it.
It's widespread.
Well, then I think they all should go to jail for 150 years.
Or if they make more money in the short term, or if they make more money with the beer savings, to where after the lawsuit, there's still money ahead. So boo-hoo, the profit's still bumped up.
I don't understand.
Well, they make enough extra money to pay for the lawsuit.
Yeah, the money that they make by selling the beer.
Yeah,
for more than what the volume actually is going out the door, pays for more than the lawsuit. So
right.
There's money ahead.
They still win.
Right.
That's why I think they should go to jail for 150 years.
Oh, okay.
150 fucking years.
Just as a great comparison, the attackers of Brian Stowe, the Giants fan that got the two Dodgers fans beat his ass outside the game. You remember that a couple years ago? And now it's like laid up. They got, I think, 8 and 4 years, respectively, those guys. And so, 150 years for the financial fraudsters at the CenturyLink Arena.
That's what Bernie Madoff got.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
All right, a couple more. Recently, scientists have reported that the part of the hops not used for making beer could possibly be used to battle cavities and gum disease.
Send him to jail!
That was a good thing.
Oh, sorry.
6 lifetimes.
Cavity jail.
A new study in the American Chemical Society's Journal of Agriculture and Food Chemistry has identified some of the substances that might be responsible for these effects. They found that antioxidant polyphenols contained in hop leaves, they're called bracts, help fight those conditions by stopping the bacteria responsible for those conditions from being able to stick to surfaces and thus preventing some of the release of the toxins that cause, the gum disease.
Yeah.
Every year, farmers harvest about 2,300 tons of hops in the U.S., but the bracts are not used for making beer, and they're just discarded. And so they're trying to figure out, are there ways to repurpose this to make it effective in that arena, as it were.
So what you're saying is that hops prevent not what happens when people don't floss their fucking teeth.
Right.
So all you have to often do is eat hops? I can stop flossing?
You don't floss now.
I floss like a madman right now.
That's not what Kate said.
No. I floss like a goddamn madman, but I'd rather just chew on hops.
I'm up to 5 times a week.
Is that right?
I'm a terrible flosser.
Is this a recent thing for you, Jay?
In the last year.
Oh, good man.
Yeah. I was never a big flosser.
No.
And I'm telling you now, I floss twice a day almost.
I was never a big flosser because all the blood just got me turned my stomach.
that goes away.
How do you deal with the blood?
The iron taste is awful.
You do it regularly, and it doesn't bleed.
Yeah, that's right.
So basically, you just pack all your gums with hops.
With hops,
and you go to sleep.
Oh, it looks great. It feels great, and now I don't have to floss.
Halitosis be damned.
So what are they going to do? Are they going to put this in toothpaste or something? Like, what's the deal?
They don't really know yet. This is a brand new discovery, so they don't know how they're going to make use.
Hops continue to be
Wake up,
wonderful.
Doc. Let's call Doc
I
right
wish
now.
Doc were here. We'll bring this up next time Doc's in the studio.
All right.
And until
I
then,
thought he was here. Jesus.
nodding off in the corner.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Last week, San Diego-based Carl Strauss Brewing announced that it is exploring plans to open in Belfast, Ireland. The East Belfast Partnership, which is an economic development agency over there, approached Carl Strauss several months ago. At first, the co-founder of Strauss, Matt Ratner, said he was surprised the Irish hadn't gone first to a European brewery. He said, I guess the craft beer movement in the U.S. has international aplomb these days. So then I thought they might want a brewery from Boston or New York with the strong Irish connections, but San Diego has risen in profile. The proposal looks to include a brewery with an attached restaurant. It'd be about $3 to $5 million. It would employ 100 people, and it would occupy a space near Belfast City Hall. And Carl Strauss has already got a pretty good footprint here in the States. They've been around for 25 years. They have 8 brewery restaurants, produced about 61,000 barrels of beer last year.
I like Carl Strauss.
For a long time, they were the only beer you could buy in California Adventure at Disneyland.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they make good beer. I met the owners once, good people. They're still, they're a big company, sort of, but a very small company in relative terms. I think it'd be good. Get them over to Europe. Why not?
Yeah.
The Irish will love them.
You think so?
Yeah.
It would be the first brewery. It'd be the first brewery outside of Southern Cal for Carl Strauss. But Ratner noted that its most honored beer is Red Trolley. It was the gold medal winner at the 2013 GABF in whatever category that is. Oh, it's an Irish Red Ale.
Oh, there you go.
What do you know? That's the news brought to you by our friends at Austin Homebrew Supply.
All right, they're good people over there. Also, don't forget, if you're looking to put all your recipes in one place and use the best brewing software out there, go to beersmith.com right now. Get your free 21-day trial, and you're not going to regret it. First of all, it's free for 21 days, so you can mess around with it. If I'm wrong, no harm, no foul. But I'm not wrong. You're going to love it. It's available on both PC and Mac. It'll do everything you need it to do, including keep inventory. If you keep your own grains and hops around and things like that, you can put your inventory in there. You can share recipes online. It's available in mobile versions on both Android and iPhone. You can put it on your iPad. You can do the whole thing. Go to beersmith.com right now and check it out. You won't regret it. All right. Also, the other thing I got to let you know about is dildos and videos. Our favorite thing around here.
All my friends love them.
Free shipping, dildos, and videos. It's like I'm making my own rap video right now, JP.
I got the dildos. I also got the videos.
What's going to rhyme with free shipping? Double dipping? Oh, snap! We got the double dipping and the free shipping. Go to adamandeve.com right now. Use coupon code BNARMY. It's BNARMY. You get 50% off just about any one item. You get a free gift. You get 3 free adult DVDs from all sorts of different genres. You've heard them. You know what they are. They're pretty incredible. And all sorts of good stuff. Just go to adamandeve.com. Use coupon code BNARMY. All right. And before we go, real quick, you guys remember Susie talking about Hello Kitty beer, or at least being really excited about Hello Kitty beer because it was in one of our news stories?
That's yes.
So somebody finally brought Susie Hello Kitty beer. Oh! But you got to hear this story because Susie, as you can imagine, was very excited. Somebody came back from, Taiwan?
Yeah.
Okay. Brought her Hello Kitty beer. It was hard to find, too, right?
Yeah, all of my friends' relatives were looking for it all around Taipei and couldn't find it. He goes over there for his wedding and looks for 2 weeks, found one can left. He's like, oh my gosh, I got to buy it. Brings it back, and the next night, Shane's mom comes into town to visit and drinks it, not knowing that it was beer.
Never drink the last of the beer.
Well, she doesn't even drink.
Beer.
Look at the can. She thought it was soda.
I
and
showed
look at
it
the
to
can.
her going, look, you like Hello Kitty too. Look what I got, Hello Kitty beer. And I put it back in his fridge. I went home for the night. I got back at 7:30 in the morning and found an empty can.
She probably didn't realize it was beer as she was drinking it.
No, she didn't. She's like, I just thought it was a funny tasting soda.
And claims also that she caught a buzz. But it's like a 2.5%. 5% beer. But Shane's mom's like, I'm all hammered and shit.
It was funny.
She was on Adam and Eve at 7:30 in the morning, all drunk.
Is Cartoon Kitty a genre?
Cartoon Kitty is a genre, and hentai is too.
Yeah.
If you look at the can, I would dare say that can wouldn't even be legal here in the U.S.
Absolutely.
The wheat beer is on there.
It's marketing to children as far as the U.S.
Oh,
is
yeah,
concerned.
if it's alcoholic.
If Joe Camel was marketing,
It's actually not for children. It's for women.
It's Hello
is
Kitty.
cheeky,
It
yeah.
has a little like lemon on it. I mean, the can does kind of scream soda. In Shane's mom's defense, it screams soda. But Susie's been waiting for this beer for like a year.
Unbelievable.
And she wakes up in the morning. She had just gotten it the night before. It's gone.
It's amazing that they only found, where was it? In like a convenience store or something?
No, they found it in. They were looking at all the convenience stores. It's so popular with like women nowadays that it's always out of stock.
That's why it's gone. So they do make a lot of it. That's what I recall.
Yeah.
And they're just buying it all
They're
up?
just buying up.
Wow.
Women love Hello Kitty. If you want to get laid in Asia, have a Hello Kitty sock puppet on your dong.
Are you sure?
I
feel
have
like,
one of those.
I feel like they would be like, really? That's for chicks, man.
No, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cute! Let me kiss it."
Take note, guys.
Susie just said, have a Hello Kitty sock puppet on your dong. That's how you get laid in Asia.
What if your last
Listen,
name
she's
is
Asian. I think she's right.
I think white first, then
I
Hello
believe her.
Kitty sock puppet. That's what I understand. Asian women in
So
Asia
get their
love
attention being
tall
tall and
people.
white.
Yes.
And then when you pull your pants down, if there's a sock puppet on your dong.
This gets better and better.
At some point, if there's any doubt, that will clear the doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you might be right.
Thank you.
Susie.
So will you be the BN Idiot Abroad?
Yeah.
You go to Asia with
Sure.
the Hello
I'll
Kitty
go
sock
to
puppet?
Asia. Yeah. I'll figure out how it works. You got to clear that with Taryn.
Well, you are. So you're super. What are you, 6'4"? You will. So first of all,
6'5".
all right. So you're gonna tower.
Yeah, right.
And then all we got to do is have Susie fucking knit you a Hello Kitty sock dong sock.
She has 3 of them.
That's like at eye level for them, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're gonna poke someone out.
Yeah.
Oh, I will. Imagine me and Paxton and I in Tokyo.
I will pay for the video crew. It'll be amazing.
Women with nosebleeds over there.
Wow.
What's
Get
that
out the
mean?
credit card. That'll be amazing.
Let's do it. I'll do it right now. Because there's a Disneyland in Tokyo.
Well, thank you for bringing us the Hello Kitty can. It's too bad you didn't get to try
I really
it,
wanted
Suze.
to save it for you guys, and we can all try it together.
Yeah.
It's like having a girl sext you her boobs. Cool. I get to see them.
Wait, what's wrong with that?
Well, you can't.
Are you complaining about that?
No, I'm just saying. It was just you can't enjoy them, so go. I get to look at it. That's great.
I'm going to go on record right now saying if anyone wants to sex me their boobs, I'm down.
Whoever was going to send them to JP.
Whatever.
God.
Yeah, it's much easier than searching for that shit.
Don't
Send it
twist
to
my words.
I'm not an iPhone camera. I don't even care.
I don't even give a shit. I don't care.
I'm not your iPhone screen. I don't get to touch them.
Yeah, what do I care? I'm not your mirror.
Right. All right. I do believe we're finally done here, Tasty. All right?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Thanks to all of our sponsors, especially More Beer, for bringing you this show. But there's a lot of good sponsors in there. Yeah, they're all in the commercial breaks and some of the live reads. And don't forget to patronize them and let them know that you appreciate their support, because we couldn't be doing this without them. Also, all of you who subscribe and donate to the show, and your one-time donations and the people buying from the store, we appreciate it very much. And I just wanted to extend an extra thanks, because we're still alive and well today thanks to you guys. I do believe that we're off next week.
Yeah, we got a couple of staggered weird off weeks. 31 is off. We're back on 7, then we're off on 14, and then we do 5 straight shows on the air. And that's all while we're transitioning to the Hop Grenade.
Yeah, that's going to be rough.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to die.
Can I just
I'm just
say,
going to schedule a vacation because you got.
It's probably a good time to do it, Tasty.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm so excited that it's going to be next to Bart. That means I can actually drink during a show.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Still Bart your ass home. I think a lot of people are excited about the Hop Grenade opening
well,
up.
Bart off for the show and Bart home. It'd be great.
There you go. I can Bart over to Ole. Oh, wait. We have our own bar. Shit.
Yeah.
The selection might be better.
You never know. Could be Cantillon night there at Pool.
That's right.
You'll pay out the nose for it, but it might be better.
You never do know.
Oh, this is actually real quick before we wrap up. This they did have Cantillon at Old, a month ago now, and the guy there told me that some of the Walnut Creek women who are 37 and have a little too much plastic surgery and a lot of cash, came in and ordered it because it was the most expensive thing on the menu.
Yeah.
And they wanted to see what it was all about. Took a sip and retched and sent it back. And the poor bartender had to dump a bunch of Cantillon that night.
Wow.
Painful.
That's rough. You can find them over at milfaholic.com. It's members.milfaholic.com.
It's also a genre at Adam and Eve.
That's right. All right, Jip, you ready to get us? Oh, no, Twitter game. Tweet.
Should have called me.
Twit game. Twit game. Whatever.
I don't know.
Just do it.
So the Twitter game was, if the BN could invent a bionic package, if you will, what would it be? Our friend Brandon Zeddies writes, a bionic cleaning assistant that takes care of everyone's favorite task, cleaning after a brew day.
Yeah.
Very practical.
That's a good idea.
Ian Jenkins writes, a bionic liver so more beer can be had.
I already have that.
Songful Chris writes, a penis for JP considering he lost his in the dildo mold. Maybe Justin will be nice and make one for him that pours beer.
And it'll have a Hello Kitty sock on it.
So you can kiss it, apparently.
Yes.
Marcus Harton writes, activated carbon gastrointestinal tract to take the stank out of beer events. I, for one, would sign up for that.
Oh, that is a good one.
Drunk Rhino asks, is bionic a new Adam and Eve category? What's the code again?
It's not new. They've had it.
Yeah.
In the year 2020. Todd Palmer writes, an Inspector Gadget finger equipped with all the sensors for pH, starting gravity, temperature, etc., or just a hands-free fleshlight.
Did you say fleshlight?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. I was about to call him like a super nerd, and then he rounded it out with a hands-free fleshlight, so I had to stop.
Kyle Liddy writes, some sort of bionic bong or smoking apparatus.
Yeah.
And then finally, Ian Hay says, a bionic mouth to make my shitty homebrew drinkable.
I need that. There's a few inventions I need in there.
Right.
All right, I like the cleaning one.
Mm-hmm. They're very practical, very serious.
And what was the other one I really liked? It was several in. Now I forget.
Bionic liver?
No.
The anti-stank one.
The anti-stank one. That's
filter
it.
intestine.
All right, I like the cleaning one, and I like the anti-stank. Because we have to spend a lot of time at festivals. And
especially at multi-day festivals where
it gets
people's
real bad.
bowel movements get a little messed up, while they're traveling.
Yeah.
And then it gets weird. Yeah.
Why is that? Mine do that all the time.
People get constipated.
Fast
and then they
food.
drink all this
Hate it.
beer, and it's got to push it. That gas has got to come out through all that shit.
It's a shit filter.
Really?
Otherwise,
the methane
like at the National
goes-
Brewers Conference.
Yeah.
On the Friday night, the club night thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
God.
terrible.
And you're saying it's because the methane gas has to pass through
Yeah, it's
several inches of shit.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's compacted
Yes.
shit.
I call that fresh off the log. Yeah.
God damn it.
I wonder if it seeps into the carpets in these rooms where, like...
Yeah, they may say, well, we got to change the carpet.
Yeah,
after
like
you guys are here.
Sunday, the crew's, like, breaking down from the last... Like, God,
Somebody
the
take a
air wall.
shit in here or what?
Yeah.
The white paint is a little creamier.
Oh, God. All right, I give it to that one because that is a problem that needs solving.
All right.
Yeah?
I agree.
We'll bring
All
that
right.
to the conference.
Ask Carbon Filter wins it.
All right, Marcus. Good job, buddy.
There we go. Well done. That's our Twitter game winner. Don't forget, we're giving away 2 tickets to the Dave Matthews Band concert in Sydney on April 15th, plus backstage tour for the 2 people who win the tickets. They're going to be good seats. You're going to get a backstage tour. You're going to get to check it out. You might get to meet Dave. I don't know what happens backstage.
I don't know
What happens backstage stays backstage.
There could be possibly some, some free beverage. You might be a part of the that deal. But that's no promise. But
it stays backstage unless
can
it's in
happen.
your bloodstream.
That's right. So go to the Brewing Network forum, brewingnetwork.com, and then click on the forum, and then you'll see there in the Beer Radio tab, you're going to be bidding for them. So just put your price down. You can start the bidding war. You can finish the bidding war. Do what you're going to do. And it's all there to help us get to Australia so that we can bring more of our team out there to party with you guys. So I encourage you to do it. They're going to be great seats. I'd take them myself if I was going to be there in April, but I won't be. So there you go. JP, you ready to get us out of here?
Yep.
Thanks, everybody. Good show.
Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. Go find beers from Left Hand Brewing in your hometown. You will be pleasantly rewarded. Go to lefthandbrewing.com for more info. JP is trying to be funny over on Twitter. Give his ego a much-needed boost and follow him at Major Jip. For some good beer insight and homebrew info, follow Nate Smith and Nathan Homebrew, and Mike McDowell at Tasty McD. Production director on this session has been Push Eject. Tonight's show has been produced by Scott Moskowitz. JP was just existing and not really caring. Susie was in the chat for the beef tonight, and your host was Justin Crossley. You're shipping on the Brewing Network on Facebook, Twitter, and now Instagram.